Well, obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
Bruh.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh my God!
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
It was our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement.
Test, 1, 2. Okay, and I crashed the stream. Let's try that again. I think I'm back. All right, good to see everybody. Hey, happy Friday. Damn, I'm running late and just got my hands full, but I'm glad to see everybody. I want to say hello to everybody in here. I want to get myself together. All right. Get yourself together. Pull it together. So we'll do that. Everyone, please hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Hit that thumbs up. Let the algorithm know that it should probably keep showing it in people's feeds. It's going to be pretty informal and brief hang tonight. I just want to come in, say hello to everybody, kind of spend a little time together and then disperse, and you guys can go on to Diana's or whatever you're going to do. But yeah, so let me say hello to everybody. I'm glad to see you all. It's our Friday night party. And hey, boom. All right, so let's go on back and see who's here. We got Walking on Sunshine, Hebby. Yeah, Hebby. All right, we got Lisa, Sweet Dude Shibby, Who's Your Daddy, Support with Stefa, Mino Dino, for Pit Bulls Across America. We got Dieter's here. Hey, Dieter. Rotting Jewels. Hey, welcome on in. Thanks for coming in. All right, Rhonda Holton, Heavy Metal Rehab. Hey, what up? We got Carla Ann. We got Daisy Asks. Hello, Amy G. Montana Gal. All right, we got Jessica Freeman. Good to see you. Also, who else we got in here? Trial Junkie. Good to see you. Dr. Corbo's Feel Good Fun Time Medicine Show. Yo. Okay. And Oleg Cat. Hello to you. And Jake Brooks. Yeah, it's Gretchen. Hey, Gretchen. Thanks for saying that, Carla Ann. Let's see. For those of you who missed it, we're going to look at a little of that tonight as well. We had Jake Brooks on last night over on Twitch, and I uploaded it in the video section. But Jake came in, had some good comments, and so I might as well share them with you tonight. And yeah, that's it. So I'm pretty excited because we finally hit our first benchmark over there at Twitch, and I'm pretty glad for that because I like it over there. And so we got that done, and we got let's see, I got communicated with Noe, communicated with Diana and a bunch of other people, and yeah, so it's our Friday night here, and today's October 10, 2025. And boy, did you guys see the crypto market kind of tank today? It was pretty interesting, but I used it as a buying opportunity, of course. But here we were sitting here, and all of a sudden the crypto market just got the knees knocked out from under it. And that was pretty much the excitement of the day on my end. And what else? I wanted to mention the explosion. There's been an explosion, right, at an ammunition factory. I don't want to get the state wrong. I want to say it was Tennessee, but I might be wrong. But it's absolutely startling because there's just nothing left. Okay, there's just nothing left at all. Absolutely nothing left. I've never seen anything like it. It's complete vaporization of the entire deal. And that's pretty disappointing to see. I mean, you're looking at least, I don't know, a dozen or 2 dozen people injured or killed or pretty much killed. Okay, let's be real here. You got about a couple dozen people absolutely vaporized from the planet. So everyone say some prayers for them and their families and all of that. And let's hope that each day that passes, better things keep happening. And maybe these markets will go on an absolute tear. You know, I'm looking, for those of you who don't know, already the silver and gold markets, the precious metal markets, but particularly silver and gold, have just been on an absolute tear, silver especially. Okay, so the silver has been just going through the roof. And I actually remember, I want to say it was approximately COVID time. I remember the day that Silver, I think, hit about $16, and I purchased some then, and I thought, oh my God, it's what's going on here. And I wish I would have just purchased 5,000 ounces, because now we're at $50 an ounce for the silver. It's pretty amazing. Gold, 4,000 an ounce, and I anticipate it's going to blast beyond that, way beyond that. 5,000, 55, maybe even 8, 10, who knows. And good old, I remember Bitcoin at the same time during COVID, there being a time period where it went down about 5,000, 5,500, somewhere in there. And now you're looking at 125,000 or so. So just think about it. Because if you would have bought one Bitcoin for $5,000 during COVID, you'd have $125,000, in your one Bitcoin. So it's pretty incredible. I anticipate that both the crypto markets and the precious metal markets will keep escalating as the dollar falls, especially in terms of the crypto that have utility. So all of the banking system crypto, I'm pretty interested in, just due to the people who are setting down the groundwork for the banking system. That the system always wins in that way. So whatever the system is laying down, that's what's going to do well in terms of crypto. So I'm pretty interested in that. Anyway, that's the news that I kind of latched onto today. And then there's other things. And so there's two things I want to do tonight. And I'll take it one. Well, I guess that would be three things, because there's something I want to do, and there's something else I want to do, and then I'm gonna throw something in the middle. So I guess we'll say we'll cover three things tonight. And in the meantime, hey, everybody have at it in the chat. Okay, this is your live chat. Please invite others. I don't know why no one's here. Maybe the notifications didn't go out, but normally we have another 100 or 150, 200 people in here. So I don't know where everybody's at. It's late on a Friday. I didn't give a good notice. So anyway. With that being said, I want to kind of go into some of the stuff. Yeah, so let me get my ball rolling here. Let's see. I crashed the stream, so all of my things I had preloaded, totally gone. So that's one thing. But let's see. First thing we're going to do, I'm going to bring up this here. Okay, because I want to talk about this tonight. Just a moment. All right, welcome in. Oh, hey, Christina, welcome in. Thanks for coming in, Christina. Thanks for coming in, Mark Ellis. Good to see you, Mark. Thanks for coming in, Trial Junkie. Good to see you, Trial Junkie. Thanks for coming in, support with Steph. Anyone I missed at the last, hey, Nancy Drew 101. Good to see you, Nancy Drew. What's up, Black Widow? Thanks for coming in, Black Widow. Hey, Rebecca Ann. Thanks for coming in, Rebecca Ann. All right, people coming in. Rhonda Holton. Hey, Rhonda. Everybody who just came in, thanks for coming in. Apologize, okay, that I didn't put up the thumbnail ahead of time, and I apologize for that. But I wanted to go back over this. We did look at it the other day, but I wanted to look at it again because I've been thinking about it today. What's up, Digital? What's up, Digital? Okay. So now, remember, I need you to put yourself in the shoes of someone only 3 months after these murders. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Please hit the like, those of you who just came in. 3 months after the murders, I need you to put yourself in those shoes, okay? And let's consider it. Let's consider someone who's come in. These murders had just happened. It's only a few months later. And let's put ourselves in the mind of Roy West, okay? And let's review some of the things he's saying, particularly in regard to our own theories here, that this is a cult kill. Okay, let me say it clearly for those in the back. I believe that this is a cartel hit that has been combined or supplemented with a cult killing. And it's my opinion that this is a natural flow, okay? Because if you have studied the many cases that the FBI have tracked down on the border, wherein cartels have done hits in border towns and combined them with some type of cult practices, because they have taken up this belief system that as they perform a hit and then they make an alter, that it has protected them. And so when they move on to the next hit, they repeat that superstition and again and again and again. So it's been identified that there have been a series of cartel-related hits or murders in which altars and ritual ideation are also expressed at the crime scene. And it's my opinion that we are looking at something of the sort in Delphi. Okay, so with that being said, with that in mind, let's bring ourselves back to May of 2017, exactly 3 months after the murders, and put ourselves in the mind of an investigator and sort of think about how far ahead of time or ahead of the times he was. Okay, because we've just come to these conclusions in the past couple years as more information has become available. But think that this guy was sniffing this out 3 months after Abby and Libby were found on the banks of Deer Creek. He says, as per request, I have prepared a list of suggestions and tasks. Okay, and here we go. Let's dive in. Having listened to the Delphi investigators at the meeting on May 12th, it sounds as if through their investigation thus far, there is no reason to believe these girls were targeted in any fashion other than this being a crime of opportunity committed by a complete stranger whose motive remains unknown. Well, that's the one sentence in this whole thing that I vehemently disagree with, okay? But with that being said, we can go forward, okay? He says, therefore, I would make the following suggestions in regards to investigating this case. Determine if during the week prior to February 13, the girl spoke with any students at school about going to the Monon High Bridge on Monday, February 13. If yes, did any adults overhear the conversation? Review the statements of any school friends. Was there any conversation about the girls talking about going to the Monon High Bridge on Monday, February 13? That may have occurred away from school property. If yes, did any adults overhear the conversation? Review the statements of all the friends the girls stayed overnight with after school on February 10. Same information above. And that's important. That's the sleepover. And remember, there were multiple sleepovers. So this is going to our list of bullet points that we need to be considering. With these multiple sleepovers with these victims in the weeks prior to February 13, in the first 2 weeks of February 2013, when these girls were over at sleepovers, did they share with any of those victims, any of the friends, any plans to meet with anyone in the upcoming weeks? And remember this, we know beyond a doubt that at one of these sleepovers, Libby and therefore Abby were introduced to the Anthony Schatz account. Do you guys remember that? Can you verify my claim that it was at a sleepover in the first 2 weeks of February at which These girls were introduced to the Anthony Shots account, which would ultimately seal their fate. All right. So the question being, what else did the friends of the victims hear or become aware of in those first 2 weeks of February that might be pertinent to this investigation, and were they even talked to? Okay. Review the statements of all family members who were present when any conversations took place about them wanting to go to the High Bridge, especially regarding the drop-off and pickup times mentioned. In other words, family and friends, we need to know about any plans, any rendezvous plans, anything to do with meeting anybody, attending a party, attending an initiation, attending a celebration, going to sleep over at some other friend's house we've never heard of, any kind of secrets with the friends and family in the first 2 weeks of February. And this is another bullet point, but we've talked last time that this did happen. They obtained funeral register books for each victim, the copies. They checked for names of who lived in the vicinity of the High Bridge, including online posts for each funeral book as well. I would look for both male and female names. In the event someone came to the funeral home more out of remorse about what happened, probably possessing knowledge of the crime rather than showing respect. And remember, why did they exclude females from those who they were looking to? Why omit female perpetrators as being involved in this when you had female hairs on the body, you had female DNA on the bodies, and you omit, you're not even looking at females at all? Excuse me? Identity of the suspect. 3 months into the investigation, the suspect remains identified. With respect to the photo and crime scene, I would consider releasing additional information to the media about the suspect, which may help lead to new information coming in from the Delphi area. If in fact the suspect is a local person, it may also help to narrow the focus of the search. Having crossed the water in Deer Creek to the place the bodies were found, either all or portions of the suspect's clothing would have been soaking wet as well if he went through the creek. But we don't believe he went into the creek. Hell no. We don't believe he went into the creek, whoever he may be. To help refocus the public's attention when looking at the suspect photo, I would suggest anyone seeing a person matching this description in the late afternoon or evening hours on Monday, February 13th, whose clothing or shoes would have appeared unusually wet, is asked to contact Delphi authorities. Suggest again that anyone believes seeing a person matching the suspect's photo who is known to have worn a similar blue coat throughout the winter months, December through February, then suddenly stopped wearing the blue coat the night Abby and Libby went missing, or immediately following the release of the phone video to the media, is asked to call Delphi authorities. And that's another thing. Let me ask you, don't you believe that in that little tiny podunk fucking town of Delphi, that somebody would have recognized that figure just due to the jacket and the build of the figure? Don't you think that some relative or some neighbor or somebody in the little 3,000 fucking podunk person town would have said, you know what? Uncle Jim Bob has a jacket just like that, and he's about that size. In addition, I would consider mentioning to the local media without jeopardizing your investigation in the ongoing effort to help identify this suspect. If in fact he is a local person living in the area, it is believed this person may be a gun enthusiast and carry a handgun as well as a knife. Based upon several profiles given to us by members of law enforcement, it is felt this person, listen to this one, okay, this is the one that I really wanted to emphasized to you last time. Okay. Based upon multiple members of law enforcement developing profiles, it's felt this person may exhibit some degree of interest in pornography, in heavy metal music, in ritualistic practices or behaviors, such as the killing of small animals. And I would add the killing, the slaughter, the abuse, and the ritualistic posing of small animals. And it's funny because we actually do have some individuals who meet that profile point. Now let's skip ahead a bit. We're going to skip ahead a bit. Information known that may be unique to this suspect at the time of the killings. The suspect appeared from the photo for that time of day to have been somewhat overdressed, to have walked for a very long distance. Okay? Just something to consider. Does he live close by or have transportation nearby? I would concentrate the radius of the canvas at this time to the crime scene location and divide it into 4 quadrants. Go back to all the homes, farms, and businesses in this specific location. We mean this historic Deer Creek Valley of Delphi. You should have gone to all the homes, all the farms, and all the businesses in this area. I would say a 2.5 mile radius, looking for any individuals known to frequent the High Bridge or known to pass by the location of the crime scene on a regular basis, either by driving, biking, walking. Okay? And I guarantee you there are a multitude of individuals who regularly passed by this location at a minimum. And I don't mean on the highway, I mean on 300. Okay? Don't rule this person out, seen standing on the bridge platform, Daniel Pearson. Thank you, Rebecca Ann. Don't rule out this person seen standing on the bridge platform who was seen by a female witness prior to the girls arriving. This woman described the man she seen as wearing similar clothing, but said he appeared to be in his 20s. Note, it was stated at the meeting this woman walked within 50 to 75 feet of this subject when she decided to turn around. Of interest to me is the fact that he didn't acknowledge her, follow her, or attempt to make any contact with her, even after she made eye contact with him. Was he waiting for someone? What's up with Betsy Blair and Daniel Pearson? What's the dynamic there? Did they know each other prior to this day in February 13, 2017? What connection did Betsy Blair have to Daniel Pearson, to Shelby Hicks, to Cheyenne, to Shelby Duncan, or to the Patty family? Does Betsy Blair have any connection to any of these parties that was established prior to February 13, 2017? The suspect was wearing clothing shown in the photo known to be common to the area and general in a purpose and appearance. Police have a recording of this suspect's voice saying, "Hey girls," and "down the hill." I would strongly suggest to have all the investigators conducting the recanvass to familiarize themselves with the sound of this man's voice, to compare it with the males they might encounter at homes, farms, and businesses in the area. Now's the part, guys, where you really fucking listen, okay? Because this is where he starts hitting it. Check this out. He says, both knife attacks appear to be frontal in nature, and the incised wounds of the necks are not deep wounds, more of a bloodletting, so to speak. It was stated at our meeting on May 12th, someone suggested this method was also used to slaughter hogs or cut pigs. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. How many people that have been discussed as being out there in Delphi on that day, worked at the Packers slaughtering facility. It was stated at our meeting on May 12th, someone suggested this method was used to cut pigs. Remember this, damn near every POI in the first years worked at Packers. Knowing that there are homes, farms, or businesses known in the area that raise pigs, or where family members, employees, etc., may utilize this method to slaughter pigs. If so, try to identify any family members and past or present employees who have done this type of cutting. Let me also emphasize this point. Josh Chrisman and Elvis Fields delivered these slaughtered hogs from the various slaughtering facilities together, and just happened to be together at that time. Bloodletting, ladies and gentlemen. Abby sustained one incised knife wound to the neck. Are there no other injuries to her body? Libby sustained 3 to 5 incised knife wounds on the neck. Investigators believe she may have put up a struggle, or there are no self-defense wounds. There was a significant amount of blood observed on both of her hands, which is natural if she was reaching for the wound, but she was left unclothed. Significant is that there were no other injuries to her body, which would preclude the fact that this was a lone wolf killing, because any lone wolf killing, the girl is going to defend herself. How do you repeatedly strike her with the knife and her not try to defend herself, not even once? I'm going to skip some of these, because some of these I don't think he's got correct. Okay, so I'm going to skip the ones that I believe he's incorrect with, but I'm going to move on. Sticks and log were found positioned on the bodies that appeared to have some similarity to demonic symbols. Some suggested it appeared to be Odinism. Now stop. Stop and think. Odinism. This is being suggested by May 12th, 2017 in their internal meetings. Okay? Others are suggesting they have some similarity to quote-unquote demonic symbols. Note, having checked the internet regarding quote-unquote demonic symbols, there is reference to the hexagram and reference to Freemasons using this symbol in sexual connotations. What appeared to be the letter F written in blood appeared on a tree near the bodies. Having checked the internet regarding demonic symbols, there is reference to the letter F as being the 6th letter of the alphabet and the symbol 666. Libby's phone, shoes, and one sock was recovered on the ground in the area of the bodies. Libby's underpants and one sock was not found in the areas where the bodies were located and have not been recovered. It was suggested at the meeting it's possible they could have been swept away or lodged in debris in Deer Creek, near where a pair of jeans was found caught on debris at the water's edge. Also considered the possibility one or both items may have been kept as a trophy or souvenir to commemorate the act. An unfired .40 caliber bullet cartridge was discovered on the ground in between the bodies. Okay, I'm going to skip the rest because I don't like the rest of this paragraph. I'm going to move on. Listen to the important parts here. I'm trying to focus, hyperfixate on the important points. It was mentioned at the meeting during a search warrant served at Ron Logan's home. Several guns and books were recovered from the home. Some pornographic material. And it was stated there were, listen to this one, goat's heads. Goat's heads. That's right. Goat's heads observed hanging in the rear yard of the house. Remember what Eric Williams says about it being all satanic, quote unquote, evil, quote unquote, like cult, quote unquote, like people were practicing witchcraft or some sort of thing. There were bones hanging in all the trees, real dark ass demonic shit, as he was searching the entire area of Deer Creek, all up and down the creek, about a mile up and back each way. All right. Remember, Eric Williams, I've always believed that guy. I love that guy. I think he told the goddamn truth. Remember that some of these bitch-ass YouTubers got him and coerced him or bullied him or twisted him into trying to retract some of his initial impressions. But we don't believe those bitch-ass YouTubers because we know what they do. Okay, those bitch-ass YouTubers were prosecution shills who were trying to water down his impressions and sort of bullied him into changing his story. But we have all the receipts of his first several conversations in which he clearly displayed that he was disturbed by the bones hanging in all the trees and the tracks all down the banks and the other shit. Eric Williams. Anyway, goat heads were observed hanging in the rear of Ron Logan's property. Did you guys know that? It was also discussed at the meeting that Ron Logan does act strange and that he's been known to bring young females, I would add, who are known to use methamphetamine back to his home for sex. Methamphetamine, sex, Ron Logan. I would suggest you obtain all unedited copies of interviews of Ron Logan. He was arrested on a probation violation, and look for any inconsistent statements. His actions and behavior and all references he may have made about the girls or the location where they were found. And you know what's funny? Mr. Reese Davis attempted to give all of this on a silver platter to the Indiana State Police, and they didn't want a goddamn piece of it. That's right. They didn't want to hear about Ron Logan. With respect to the search warrant served at Logan's, were any sink traps from the sinks, tub, shower, etc. examined for blood and sent to the lab for analysis? If not, is it possible to obtain another search warrant to collect all the sink, tub, and shower traps? Consider the possibility that someone else could have been staying with him or visiting Ron Logan over that weekend, and we know that there were. All right. Additional suggestions. It appears from his actions and deeds the suspect may fit the category of a quote-unquote organized killer. Ah, very pertinent observation from old Roy West. Organized killer. In that he brought both the gun for control and the knife for assault. He had a plan. He made the girls take clothes off. And this is parenthetical because I think it's fantasy world, that he made them cross the creek, but then directed them to Logan's property where he performed the act. Why Logan's and not Weber's or Mears or anyone else? Or did it actually happen at the cemetery? Or did it actually happen at Wilson Bridge? And another thought for you, and I've been thinking about this lately. You guys don't find it odd at all that this took place literally adjacent to the cemetery, to the old fucking cemetery? The bodies were not found, okay? It's searched. The whole area is searched. The cemetery is searched. The whole area is searched. Nothing's found, right? Overnight, nothing's found. And then magically they appear in the morning. Don't you think some kind of weirdos who are trying to be some LARPing occultist would go to a cemetery to try to do something with some young girls in which they're going to end up killing these young girls? Whether it be an initiation, a mock ritual, some kind of other stupid ass occult LARPing experience. And there's that persistent rumor that there was a gathering in the cemetery in the 24 hours prior to all of this. Do we all forget about that? Do we all forget about the Kokomo crew and Megan Allen's whole deal that she stabbed somebody in the neck as part of an initiation ritual into a gang? Like, do we just forget all of that? Is the cemetery the reason that those bodies were placed where they were? Have all the known associates of Logan's been identified and interviewed? Well, let's see. We know Tony Klein's going to check that box. We know Kathy Shank and her daughter are going to check that box. We know Brad Holder and Logan Holder are going to check that box. There's a whole bunch of people. Garrett Kurtz is going to check that box. There's going to be a whole bunch of guys and people at the absolute center of this case are going to check that box. All the known associates of Logan. Of course, we got to forget about all that too. Thank you for the super chats, who's ever coming in. Everyone else, please do support the channel. We have a fundraiser ongoing, and our fundraiser is over at GoFundMe. You can find it at the link tree in the description and in the About Me section of this channel. Anyway, please support the channel. I do appreciate it. Support it by joining the chat, leaving a comment, sending a Cash App, a Buy Me a Coffee, or contributing to our fundraiser over at GoFundMe. Also be aware, I have a Twitch channel, The Prof Allegedly, at which I perform hangouts on Thursday nights. Let's move on. Has Logan admitted, now put your thinking caps on and consider this one. Has Logan admitted to being a member of a group or having associated with a group or individual who is known to be involved with any type of devil worship or practice? In other words, is Ron Logan associated with a group or individual who is a practicing occultist? Keep in mind, the organized killer profile, generally speaking, would fit a person in his late teens to mid 30s. Again, not Richard Allen. Late teens to mid 30s, generally. Okay? Interview all known postal carriers whose routes delivered in this area. Have they noticed anything unusual about the persons or property of the people they deliver mail to? And interview all known delivery drivers. Okay? Are there any pizza delivery men in this area who may have had prior contact with either girl? Check with the local pharmacist in Delphi to see if they're aware of anyone fitting this man's description who is being prescribed medication for any sort of mental defects or mental conditions who might live in the area of the crime scene. Research firearm permits. Determine if there are any males on record with a firearm permit who may live in the immediate vicinity of the High Bridge. Okay? et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, with the guns. I'm going to skip over the gun shit, but he's basically saying, look into the guns. And remember, my conspiracy theory is that's how they centered in on Richard Allen. Is I believe they went around to all the gun dealers and the FFLs, and they sought out the records of transactions to try to figure out who purchased a 40 caliber SIG or Smith & Wesson in the few years prior, so that they could go and determine if anyone living in the area of the bridge had purchased a 40 caliber weapon. I think that's how they got Richard Allen on their list in the first place. Okay. And it also says, go to the public library, see if you find anyone checking out books, reading about demonic practices, rituals, beliefs, symbology, etc. Tattoo shops and parlors. Ask if the artists, if they know of anyone living in the area that may have asked about demonic or satanic tattoos. Check all reports of animal abuse in the vicinity of the crime scene. Determine if there was more to report than just neglect, like torture or mutilation. And see, that's the funny thing, because we know that Patrick Westphal and that crew, they were into doing that. And like I said, we know that Eric Williams was firsthand witness to all of the signs of that being left in the area of the High Bridge and all around Deer Creek. Of course, all of that's been ignored over the years. Every bit of that has been ignored. You have to ask yourself why. All right. Anyhow, I'm going to skip the rest of this because we've already gone over it. We've already gone over it, and you're pretty familiar with where it is, that it exists. If you want to go and read it for yourself and all of the supplementary materials he attaches to it. But I just wanted to hit on those points. I think they're all very important points. And I think what's alarming is how many of those points seem to have been ignored. Okay, remember, this is 3 months after the murders. He's pointing all of this out, and he's saying you should probably go look at all this. And just keep in mind that pretty much all of this was ignored. All right. Can't fucking make this shit up. All right, y'all. So I'm going to try to man up now and pull this up. Okay, I'm ready to go. So, guys, looks like we got we have a guest. We have a guest who's come on into the backstage area, and I've been waiting to speak to our friend for quite a while since the last time he came on. And I think all you know will know as soon as I bring him up, you'll know who he is. And I think you'll all be glad to hear from him because every time he comes, we have a real nice conversation. And so, hey, please welcome on in my friend Jake Brooks here.
Oh my God!
Everyone be nice in the chat, say hello, and greet him as I bring him on in. Let me see if I can get him up here. Hello, hello.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, loud and clear. Jake, what's up?
Good evening to you. How are you?
All right, good evening. I know everybody's glad to hear from you.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back as the wild turns of Delphi go.
Yeah.
So tell me, how much more evidence do you think? 'Cause I know the transcripts have come out, and those are a handful. Has there been, like, I guess, any of the evidence that kind of that convicted Richard Allen? Has that been made public?
Well, I guess my question would be, what do you think convicted Richard Allen that we would be wanting to review? Because it all has for the most part, but I think for me, the most interesting thing that is beginning to come are the attachments to the Frank memorandum. Those are starting to come, and those are actually very interesting. But all of the Richard Allen stuff, it's the majority of it is out, except for the bridge guy video exhibits that were used at trial.
Right.
Yeah.
I think part of the claim of like ineffective assistance of counsel has got to be his team stipulating to, I guess, the evidence that's going to be brought against him. I mean, I think that was far too broad.
Oh yeah, remember that stipulation? Yeah,
I mean, to me, you're given, like, why not challenge any of that? It doesn't make sense to me. And right after he got convicted, the whole brigade was really ready to be sort of a, they call themselves the defense daddies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like it was part of the script to have their back as soon as, because there was a decent amount of PR that went on. I mean, it was a big case and it was public and anything, but it did seem a little strange, right through there.
Defense daddies.
Hey, everybody in chat, what's up?
Hey, everybody in chat. Yeah, everyone's saying hello. All 5 people.
I know, right?
But cool. I like it here because it's not. You know what I like about this platform, Jake, is the chat is very interesting to me. I like the way it's built.
Yeah.
I wish I was here now with all my YouTube followers over here because I'd just rather be here. But it's nice. It's kind of, I like it informal here on our Thursday nights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. I put that thing up several times, and actually, I keep it backstage here. It's ready to go because I can upload about 10 documents at a time and just leave them. Because that document, I agree with you. It's really, I just wonder what the hell those attorneys were thinking. It's like,
so if the judge is not going to allow you to have third-party people or evidence, right? And what she said was the reason why you can't have these third-party people is because there was no nexus, right? They said there's no nexus. Well, what would be nexus? In her mind, it would be DNA. Well, then why are we holding proceedings against Richard Howland? Because from what I saw, they had a million different ways that they tested this and not a single piece they could connect to him.
Yeah, all that hair that was collected on those bodies and near the bodies, all those hairs.
Lots of hairs, lots of different hairs, lots of different kind of types of hairs. You had hairs that had roots. You had some that did not. Mm-hmm. But what was interesting is that they tested that just 2 weeks before the trial started.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much at liberty I am to say. This is a little hairy.
Okay.
But no, but I do kind of want to say this because this whole concept of Kelsey's hair, it's a misrepresentation that hair was not identified as Kelsey's until that point. I got my twin brother here. We now know that hair was identified long before it was belonging to Kelsey, and the prosecution didn't want that. I'd like to introduce everybody to my twin brother. Wow. Proof. And so when it was identified again at the direction or the compelling of the defense, then it became a thing. But I don't know, Silence Woman, you spill it. But no, but aside from Kelsey's, all of that hair, there's technology to look into DNA that is partial and fragmented and all of that, and all of the other DNA all over the bodies. Absolutely. And the clothing.
But specifically on the hair, right? So there was testing that you could have done that was not going to damage the underlying piece. And I'm quite skeptical about all.
Okay, great point Jake's bringing up. Let me stop messing around. I'm kind of goofing around tonight, but look. Jake's bringing up a good point right now about the hair. You guys start listening now. I'm sorry. There's such a good point about the hair and the failure to test it against everyone in this case. Okay, so let me calm down and let you take a listen to his point here. He's bringing up several good points in this next 30 minutes.
Of the inconclusive DNA that they had. I mean, she said that she spent almost like a year.
All right, I'm going to interrupt him again. On that note about the inconclusive, nature. I don't know how much I want to, I'm not trying to spread conspiracy theories or rumors, but we have to be real here. And, the reason we talk about what the locals have been saying sometimes for 8 years is because you never know when there might be an element of truth in some of the rumors, because those make the best rumors, right? And lies. You remember this one, that there were chemicals dumped on the bodies and or that the bodies were in the creek. So just think about it. If these bodies were washed and or some sort of causative agent was like, even if you get a little bit of bleachy water, so you can get water and then you can add a little bleach, just enough that it would go in and start breaking down the DNA. Is that the reason for the inconclusive DNA results? Something like that? That's kind of like somewhere in that universe? Anyhow, let me let Jake talk.
Testing that you could have done that was not going to damage the underlying piece, and I'm quite skeptical about all of the inconclusive DNA that they had. I mean, she said that she spent almost like a year and a half or something on all of this, and I mean, it was just too often inconclusive. When you had the amount of DNA and the different types that you had, and one of the things that bothered me too is that they found profile female 1 and female 3 over and over again, and they would stop investigating at the point where it was a female.
Mic drop moment. Okay, I wanted to add that too. Okay, I'm sorry I keep stopping, but that's the reason I'm playing it, so I can add on to things that I've thought about today that I didn't really stop. I didn't want to interrupt Jake too much because I have a tendency to do that. The concept of inconclusive DNA and the concept of hitting the brakes every time they touched a female profile.
Oh, we had evidence or we had direction. Okay. And when they say that it's inconclusive, part of the reason why it was inconclusive, and they structured this in a way to sort of not reveal this, is that they gave them no samples, including Richard Allen's, to compare it against as far as the hair goes. So they wouldn't give, they didn't want any, they didn't want to give any samples. So of course you're not going to find any confirmations from the hair if you ever actually compare it against anything.
Mm-hmm. True.
So that was one thing. And then I guess one of the other things that bothered me about I guess it was, I don't know how to say her last name, but Bozanvinsky, the DNA.
Yeah.
Stacey,
Mm-hmm.
okay. I thought it was strange. I thought it was strange that there was an ISP employee that came back on one of the pieces. And
remember,
she spent a lot of time talking about how she had the lab secured. She spent a lot of time on no one else gets to touch any of this. She spent a lot of time really talking about there was no one else that made this, and okay. But the profile that would have come back from CODIS would be from the testimony is that it could be someone who's in CSI or United States Police. So it makes me think, okay, in this case, how many witnesses were there that fit that profile? Like who would actually possibly from their own self-reporting fit that? So the photographer would, okay. The There are people that were former ISP.
Searchers and rescuers. Oh no, did I just lose my spot? Sorry, guys. Whoops, I lost my spot.
Technique. If your DNA is there, I think we, okay. But the profile that would have come back from CODIS would be from the testimony is that it could be someone who's in CSI or the United States Police. So it makes me think, okay, in this case, how many witnesses were there that fit that profile? Like who would actually possibly from their own self-reporting fit that? So the photographer would.
Yep.
Okay. There are people that were former ISP that are no longer ISP that were witnesses in this case. Okay.
Do you remember?
There's people that have made reports of weird stuff like glitter at the scene and taking photos from helicopters. Those people that are putting themselves at and around that area the time they were found, maybe
firemen.
If your DNA is there, I think we should be able to get your phone. If you're coming back on DNA that we're testing, we should start to look at your whereabouts.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that.
Hold up. You hear the point he made? If there were people whose DNA profiles are found, we should probably be looking at all your digital forensics. What the fuck kind of investigation was this? I mean, dude, this is not incompetence, okay? No matter what they ever try to come back and say, if I'm long gone, this is not incompetent. You cannot be this incompetent.
It's too much to ask, but what I see is controlled opposition, including Jerry Holman, who also fits that profile, ISP investigator, who said, and I listened to this back recently, said that he heard it on the radio on the way to work. Okay. So I had some notes about his interview and his whereabouts when he talked with Murder Sheet. And what's interesting is it cuts every time it talks about where he was and who he was with. Why does it cut like that? If me and you are talking right now, it's not cutting, is it?
Oh, editing. Yeah. The old slick editing on the production side.
But why does there need to be that much post-op? I mean, I'm in minute 2, minute 4, minute 8. Why does it got it? Why do you have to, when it's who you're with and your whereabouts and times? Why is that such a mystery, Mr. Jerry Holman, who's doing the read technique? At the time, he announces that he was the what was it?
Jerry Doughboy Holman,
director of investigations coordination, I think, but it's spelled out DIC. I was like, what a perfect name for Jerry Holman.
Bruh.
So I'm just getting warmed up. I'm glad to be here, Prof. And we're just hanging out with everybody. I'm reading the chat.
Just getting warmed up. Hey, you remember that old rumor, Jake, about that? This was a persistent rumor before all the trial and all got underway, which was one of the quote unquote people who found the bodies or whatever freaked out and touched the bodies.
I'm legally blind.
All of this had their DNA or whatever all over the bodies, touched the bodies before people came in. And do you guys remember that rumor? They tried to say it was Pat Brown, but look, don't believe it's got to be Pat Brown because that was the rumor. This could be a little sleight of hand. It could have been that, yes, somebody did touch all the bodies that was trying to explain away DNA on the bodies, but maybe it wasn't Pat Brown and established the roped off the crime scene. You ever heard that rumor?
I did. But that seems almost impossible to me unless they were invited. Because early that morning, they had the perimeter sort of. I mean, no one's going in and from outside there. It would have been already someone who has checked in perhaps and was roaming around, but the it was not it was someone local there that was not a sworn officer that found him, right? And then the first officer.
Well, hey, hold on. I don't believe that either. I mean, because there's these stories, but then we got locals calling us with other stories.
No. But I'm saying what they testified to.
I'm not, according to their story, yeah.
Right. What they
I actually believe it was a. So my current state of my internal investigation here and behind the scenes is that it's a fireman, the first, and that's one of the big secrets. But that's my theory, working hypothesis. Right. But why would they see? I go back to why would they change the story, and why would it be a secret about who first found the bodies? Why?
Because it's poison.
Bruh. Why would it be? No, look, let me pause our conversation to say this, because man, this is the one that bothers the fuck out of me. Why would it be such a clusterfuck in this storytelling from these people of who found the bodies? Just like the story of them wanting to go to the bridge, red flag. The story of what time they got to the bridge, delivered by quote unquote Kelsey or any other family member, red flag. The story of picking them up and Derek making a call and passing Wilson Bridge at 3:11 or 3:15 or whatever fucking time, red flag. The story of who found the bodies at what time, because remember, when Erskine came out, he had a complete contradiction of the situation and the time that these bodies were allegedly found. So what's up with all these stories of finding the bodies? Like, so many variations. You don't have this when people are telling the truth. Mm-hmm.
So you need to strategically place that. You needed to have a little bit of a story together before they get found to get that. Otherwise you got some explaining to do.
There's other anomalies too. Like, there are people who say that there are people describing the crime scene in a different way than we saw in the leaked crime scene photos and the crime scene photos that were described as being seen in court. So I'm wondering that with fact with that too, like, wait. Was a crime scene found? So again, going back to my hypothesis, is it okay? The crime scene is found earlier and in a different state, and then it's somehow slightly manipulated, and then it's the time is pushed back, and the story and the photography is different than that. And this is starting to be what's leaking out of the community,
right?
And yeah, I agree. This is the big questions. Like you said, fruit of the poisonous tree, so to speak, in a way.
It certainly seems like at least somebody on that side had to have a heads up, or at least look the other way. I mean, I'm not so ready to cast the stone and say for sure, but one of the reasons why that might be is they weren't together. And so if you think about a lot of the things that they say is, oh, they were together the whole time. Why are you pushing?
Jake Brooks is doing another mic drop. We got two bodies found in two entirely different conditions, killed in two entirely different manners, with the inability to establish time of death for each girl because that's being obscured too? Were those girls separated, killed separately by different people in different ways at different times? And that's the cause of all of this fuckery? Food for thought.
And that's so hard, right? Maybe they had one in a spot that it felt good about, and the other one they had to, I'm spitballing here, Prof, and I don't really mean any disrespect to the families or to the victims here. This is me and Prof just hanging out talking.
Yeah, we're brainstorming.
Yeah.
And honestly, Jake, I want to announce that I've never really said this very clearly, but I've really knocked on this theory that Ron Logan killed the girls, quote unquote. But with that being said, I'm not necessarily excluding Ron Logan from involvement in the murders in any way. I'm just saying that there's no way I can believe that this is a lone wolf killing at all. So I believe if Ron Logan was somehow involved in the thing, that it still means there were others.
He seemed nervous, right? He had the story ready to go. He had the weird alibi about the fish. He has the proximity. He definitely has the opportunity. But that does one of the things that's a mystery with him is, he had to at least let the goons on this property at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, was he worried? Was that the extent of his worry? You hear things, and I'm not 100% true about this, but was there activity with him in the evening as well, right? When it corresponds with some of the phone moving. It matters.
Yeah, it does.
So that's interesting. But there are a number of people that testified that fit that same quality that would be in the CODIS. And to me, I don't think you're asking too many questions while saying, okay, well, your DNA is here, right? We're talking about nexuses here. And the man that they have in prison for 130 years has none of it. And yours is on here.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jake, I would say DNA and also digital forensics, geofencing, whatever you want to call it. Right. I think both of those things would be way more solid forensic evidence than just sheer speculation, which is what we ended up with. Bruh.
Right. And if you think about, his defense strategy, right? You get charged with this heinous crime, and you have the judge coming after you saying no third party, which is basically the whole Frank's memo and all of their sketchy behaviors and weird coincidences and seemingly too good to be true things that are lining up that only people that were involved or at least had a close tie to it would know. And
all right, another point here. Jake's about to mention a very pertinent piece of information or thought. What did I call it? Points. He's about to bring up a very good point. So let me see if I can let him move forward with the point. But all right, let me let it go. Okay.
So you're not able to bring that up, and then your lawyers are allowing anything under the sun against you, including deep fakes or Photoshop, and we don't. And says, we'll take it from there. Some of the things that when I read that transcript, though, is I see these lawyers that are basically pillow fighting. I mean, I don't see real advocacy.
And pillow fight, softball lawyering, agreeing to a joint stipulation to not question anything that's questionable, like all the digital shit, all the faked ass photos, the fake ass bridge guy video and all that shit. No, we're not going to question any of that. Just green light.
And one of the things I worry about with Rick now is that he has also court appointed defense. And it's like, well, how far does
he's trying to say, how far does the uniparty go? Gotcha, Jake.
Does the charade go, right? Mm-hmm. Because you can't tell me that if they're qualified to take a case like this, that they don't have at least a couple of bolts and screws to them on the other side. You don't get handed this case without knowing what the playbook is. So I do worry about that for him. And I was telling my friend, I said, well, if we can just like throw people in prison and just drug them and torture them and until we get them to say whatever they want to say, why are we living like this? Why did they do this to this guy 5 years later? What is the point of all this? And it never makes sense to me. And it's a sad part, and it's a black eye for the men and women that are paid to protect us, that we pay to protect us, right? Are engaged in crap like this, that's using the badge. When Jerry Holman was at that first press conference, and there was a reporter that seemed to ask sort of a softball question, right? This is the one that Doug Carter's got the note card and he's covering up the bridge guy's face and pointing and doing all the theatrics and stuff. A reporter raises a question, the first question, and he looked like he was, all right, I'm going to use this badge. I'm going to use my power, and I'm going to make your life hell just for asking that question. I'm going to make an example out of you for asking that question out there. And I bet you he did. I'm not.
You're guilty of something, and I'm going to fucking prove it.
But I mean, you just see his demeanor on this. He was hired to play that role that he took, and he had that from unified command all the way through. And you can see when the FBI came in and made a task force around it with Ferenczi and Murphy and Click that.
All right. Here's his great point I was just referencing. This is the good point that he makes. Now listen to this point. Because again, for instance, who would you what kind of example could I use? Let's say this. You just move into a new neighborhood, right? And you want to know something about your neighbor who you're kind of side-eyeing. You're looking at this new neighbor across the street, a couple houses over, and you're like, kind of getting a little EBGBs about this neighbor. Who are you going to ask about this neighbor that you're kind of suspicious about? Are you going to ask all your other neighbors around that you do trust? Or are you going to ask someone in another state who just happens to be passing through town and you flag them down? You're like, hey, this guy across the street, what you know about him?
He had a problem with anything that they were digging up and actively participated to put what they were finding out down.
Yeah, I truly. All right, let me back it up a little. I goofed on his point. I clicked in the wrong spot. Let me see.
He had a problem with anything that they were digging up. Play that role that he took, and he had that from unified command all the way through. And you can see when the FBI came in and made a task force around it with Ferenczi and Murphy and Click that he had a problem with anything that they were digging up and actively participated to put what they were finding out down. And some of those people of the task force were investigating subjects that they had a real good history with.
That's the point, okay? Jerry Holman made a huge point, and so did the other individuals from this Lafayette Post and in the unified command, quote unquote, unified cover-up. He's making a great point that those guys knew the people they were looking at 100 times better than unified command did, but yet they engage in this effort to discredit these guys who knew the people they were looking at. And by that, I mean the people in the Murphy investigation / Frank's memorandum.
Murphy and Click that he had a problem with anything that they were digging up and actively participated to put what they were finding out down. And some of those people, the task force, were investigating subjects that they had a real good history with. They know they were bad dudes, and they know they would do something like this without even thinking about it, or if they had the opportunity, they would.
Yeah, yeah. Because there are good cops. Yeah, I truly believe like this. All of these, with what they did to him, all of the torture and drugging, like none of that should have ever been allowed in this trial. And like you say, this is a real blight. It's a real bad reflection on the badge to put this guy into this condition and get that stuff and then use it against him when they knowingly had him in that condition before they got this out of him. That should never been allowed.
Never.
And
if they had, just like you said, many times before, they wouldn't need to do this to him if they had proof.
Right. Boom. And back to what you were saying about Jerry Holman's demeanor, honestly, the more time goes by and I reflect and look back, it's this. I get these same feelings with Doug Carter, exactly, especially regarding this animosity or this sort of rivalry with the FBI being involved and wanting the county to be running this instead of the FBI, and just the way that he's just shielded and kind of covered and done damage control for all of it. And it's like, man,
correct.
Not a good look.
And at the call center, you had the old lady, right? That was back there. The one that found the tip, But when she was interviewed after, in that press conference after the Richard Allen conviction and his sentencing, they hold this press conference. I mean, he's standing right behind her, right? I mean, something is not right with everything there, and especially from the time he was very involved in. After the first 48 hours, they go back to his stomping ground in White County and bring him there for a week before they get. And so, how involved was this man in arranging the Westville trip?
Mic drop. Who made the ultimate decision? I don't know what the story is. The story is the head of the Department of Correction, but who really made the call to place him in the center of hell, Westville, where they had a complete control and knew that they could Guantanamo Bay his ass? Who made that call?
So, there are a number of shady individuals here. There's a bunch of weird stuff that occurs. But one of the things that you see, and I don't know that everyone catches this, right, is that one thing I'm a little bit sick of with this case is the amount of information that gets put out with unwarranted assumptions, right? So if we talk about who might have been at the bridge that day, you start to, in your back of your mind, you start to think that something happened at the bridge that day, right? And so if you never even question that part of it, and you just go hard in the paint about there might have been a car, there might have been footage, there might have been, then you can kind of feed into it subconsciously into that the altercation happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all the public's really ever been told. But you wouldn't think at that point, because of the very first press conference that they had shortly after the crime, and I'm not talking about the one that Kim Riley was at, acting like a weirdo, and that Mullins looked like weird, and Lesenby sitting there weird. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one that was, Doug Carter with the high and tight and, you know, the distinguished look and all the theatrics. That's the one I'm talking about. And so, you know, you hear about how heinous of a crime is, you wouldn't even start to kind of think that part of it's not even true. But you zoom out a little bit and a lot of other things start to happen where it's possible. But you do know that the next day, you know, on the 14th at noon. So to me, you don't see YouTube creators talking about that time or shortly before and after then when they were found. You find basically what the family said happened and where the family said happened.
Mm-hmm.
And what the police have echoed.
Yeah, that's part of the problem I have with this. A whole group of people positioning themselves to argue this case, but only arguing within the parameters of what, or the confines of, the standard fairy tale narrative. Okay? Remember this. Remember that the one first major rule of the Delphi doc subreddit is you cannot question the family. Hello. The state, the family, and this entire trial presents as the happenings. And, you know, for me, I look at it like this. This appears to be PR from the day one in regard to convincing the public that all of this transpired on the bridge as the centerpiece. And it's just kind of been a whole rabbit trail since then of everyone kind of locked into that as a frame of reference, you know, almost like I've often said, like this anonymous monster on the bridge. And I think it's a sort of tunnel vision. If that's all you're looking at, you know, the perspective is very limited because you're only hyperfixating on that figure on the bridge who's really indistinguishable.
Correct.
And then this bridge, and like you say, that there's not much that makes sense about all of this digital stuff, like the photography, the footage, and then all of the narratives around it and all the contradictions.
Well, I mean, if David McCain was out there at the trails between 2 and 3, would Rick Allen not be on a lot of his films? If what Mullen said with the trail cams that were there, wouldn't Rick Allen not be walking through there? I mean, it doesn't make sense for what they're saying. I mean, and to have all of that evidence just magically gone, including the Hoosier Harvest Store video, the Marathon gas station video, like this is a lot of effort to make sure the signals are mixed that day.
And we've further seen a lot of effort to make sure this conviction sticks. Hello. Yeah. And you know, there's another thing you just triggered in my memory that I want to bring up just as an aside, because there's something that I notice that everyone tends to forget, and maybe a lot of people haven't put this together yet. But this is confirmed by Tobe Lesenby and Hannah Shakespeare, okay? And that is this, that initially the whole thing was that this alleged bridge guy figure exited back through the main trail where they say he came in, exiting through towards the Freedom Bridge. And the witness for that was Daniel Pearson. Now, question I have is, why on earth would you suddenly produce Sarah Carbaugh with an entire different exit strategy in your hypothetical theory. So their working theory being that he left up that trail from Ron Logan's up back to the main trail out to Freedom Bridge, and it's Daniel Pearson who witnesses that individual leaving. And you change that story to no, he left through 300 and Sarah Carball is now the witness. And when that's a major change in the narrative of the working flow of this crime that people seem to forget, or maybe that never caught on. But when Hannah was building that documentary in her interview with Tobe, that's what was said, and it just never made it. It ended up on a cutting room floor. It's major.
Yep. Major. And he must have reason to have that set of facts in his mind and it public for that period of time. But when they circled around Richard Allen, there was a lot of things that changed. That like the time he was there. In the first interview with Holman, he sort of, with the read technique, is sort of assuming facts that are not true, and then you're hammering home on this, and you're not even asking about the first part of it. But he's like, you're there, and he's extending the time out till later in the afternoon. But the bottom line is, from where they found him, there wasn't searching going on there then. And these people are saying they searched all night until 2:30, and then it picked back up in the next morning. I don't see how you miss it, and so. That's the strange part, is that you have all of these guys that are trained to be out there. They know how to do it in the water. They know how to do it in the wilderness. They know how. I mean, they're badass. Like, those people they know what they're doing.
Actual searchers, actual search and rescue. Yeah,
they can cover ground. They can get you out of spots. That. And we need them, but. Something was going on inside the perimeter here, and this stinks to high heaven. And the fact that they turned this on Richard Allen is insult to injury, because the victims have not been afforded justice, and that's my opinion. So whoever can get mad about that, but in my mind, we've got an innocent man paying for these crimes, and a lot of questions and weird behavior on social media, and it's an all-out blitz. The stakes must be high, because this is quite coordinated.
Mm-hmm. That's the only conclusion I can come to. What would be worth all this,
Some of the stuff, though, of that phone that I was thinking about, I just kind of bounces off my head, and I have this device that's like this. You have a SIM card that will cut off. I mean, that pretty much deadens the phone. I don't know if you remember that little tray, but you could take a paper clip and push that off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the phone is still on, right? I need to kind of look at that, but with it saying, at 5:30 it comes off, but there's activity at 10:30, and then early in the morning again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. Right. I don't understand how that is not getting Richard Allen out of jail, like, right now. Like, does that not exonerate him?
Well, see, that's what I didn't understand from trial. It was like.
That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Because so you mean a quick Google search of rumors is going to be allowed in as a valid expert argument against the fact that the forensics are saying that there's a headphone jack that's activated and then deactivated, and at the same time, I've said this a lot of times, that when that headphone jack is activated at the 5:45 or whatever it is time period PM, it's only minutes later that the third phone leaves the geofencing. And I'm thinking, well, you know, in space and time, that is a nexus. There's
is
something going on.
correct. Right. I mean, those data points right then and there are crucial, and the proximity of those devices to others is crucial as well. But you know, one of the other things, and I don't know how we're going to be how anybody's ever going to be able to dispute this, but I'm reading back through some of this transcript, and after they get done with a witness, the jury gets an opportunity to ask questions, and they're asking questions as if they're absolute experts in the fields of firearm, in the fields of DNA, in the fields of, I mean, they had questions in DNA about reagents, chimeras, how does toxic drugs affect the DNA? I mean, they're talking about access to the lab. Perhaps some of these are innocent, but what does this have to do with anything if they're not fed to them? Like, where do these questions come from? And if you're so sophisticated, then you must then accept the conclusion that there was no DNA from this defendant. So if all of that defendant and all that testimony, is that not reasonable doubt?
Well, that's what I was going to say is with those types of questions, and you would assume some level of intelligence. Well, how do you not have the intelligence to understand the bar for reasonable doubt that you have to pass? Yeah. And I think that's an excellent point you made because that's how I was bamboozled during trial, because as that was happening, those questions were coming. I was dumbfounded. I'm sitting back like, wow, we have a great jury. Like, they are really thinking. And based upon the verdict that came back, and then, you know, allegedly the two alleged jurors that have come forward, that neither of them seem very intelligent at all. It's like you're saying, there's a lot of red flags. It would lead you to start to wonder if they were fed these questions, because otherwise it's sort of a conundrum. Like, how do you explain these questions and then the results? And then the aftermath, we get these two jurors come out that seem like high school girls, you know?
Right. I mean, but having that many clothes, I think there were 11 cuttings from one of the garments, 11 cuttings with more than three different people, not Richard Allen, on it. Okay. Presumptive seminal fluid. You've got your ISP over here getting CODIS hits on it. I don't know if that's a lab leak or contamination, but it's sloppy or culpable, we should say. Right. They had tested the pink top, the gray bra, the black bra, the jeans. I mean, the shoes. Nothing from, and these are right next to where the wounds are, and he doesn't have any of his DNA there.
A really messy crime scene.
One of the ones that they did not test that I want to make a note of from the transcripts is a handkerchief that was there. Not tested.
Vinlander green handkerchief. Vinlander green handkerchief.
A belt that they asked to preserve after the trial.
A broken belt. A belt that had been broken in a struggle that belonged to one of the victims. Hello.
There's a motion that says, hey, can you please make sure that you preserve that belt? We might need it later. These are huge items in the fact that if they were where they say they were, how could you not be testing that against the defendant? And if you did, what are those results? Because I think if they could match it to Richard Allen, we would have heard that right in the trial. So then they're asking about, well, does the dirt hurt the DNA of the bullet? The bullet is such that whole part of it was so goofy to me, because Jason Page was the CS photographer. He testified he did not take any images of the bullet. Why would that be? Why would you not take a picture of the bullet?
That's not
was it
protocol, is it? Isn't there
there?
standard protocol revolving around evidence collection?
He's the photographer for the ISP that showed up that day. Testifies, I didn't take a picture of the bullet. Okay, well, where did that's a problem, right? The audio and video enhancements that Chapman did, the defense counsel did not challenge anything with that. If you could, like, just imagine you're got the whole weight of the state against you and you're about to get convicted on deep fakes and photoshopped evidence, likely. I mean, at least was cut. Some parts of it were admittedly altered. We don't know how, or we don't know the specification by which that was done. But if it's evidence that's going to put me into a jail cell, I'd like to not waive my right just to accept what the state had. And in that trial,
which brings us back to that joint stipulation.
Correct. Not only that, Carl, in the trial, it's littered with air quote technology issues. I bet you they didn't want to play hot potato on whose actual computer is going to be the one that's going to have to put this one up. They're having compute. Well, in that Jerry Holman interview with Murder Sheets, he says, from what I remember, he pointed out technology is great when it works. Guess when the technology starts to fail, when they want to start showing the multimedia of the person that they have from this sketchy phone. How convenient is that?
Yeah, it's just as convenient as was it Mullen who just happened to destroy 70 days of hard drive interviews from all the first 70 days, or for the first 6 months, all 70 days from within the first 6 months. Like, what?
So listen to this. This was Exhibit 5. This is early in the trial. There was a map of the area. Supposedly the tech wasn't working for the map on Exhibit 5, so they handed photocopies. Now, what does that accomplish? The people in the gallery don't get to see what's the evidence against them. They can put whatever they want and depict on that photocopy. We don't get to see that. So Exhibit 5 from the map, tech not working. They hand out photocopies instead from in the trial. Right? How do we know what's on those pages? Did they publish that? Exhibit 7 was a mark map. They hand that out as a handout. The drone footage that they have was not from the same year or season. So what is
right? That's right. Mm-hmm.
So to me, this is sleight of hand. This is
it's all magic.
It's
all magic with a K. It's all magic with a K. This entire fucking thing, including all the social media personalities covering the case. You think I'm fucking lying?
Exactly what they had to do to probably convince those last couple ones that weren't already homers that were on that panel. And the efforts to minimize everyone's voice of what was going on was absolutely clear with the way that they set up how you had to get in, how they were monitoring to make sure that there was no one recording, and to let the public know as little as possible of the kangaroo court that was going on behind closed doors.
Exactly. And it also encourages misinformation, right? Because as people are coming out, everyone's remembering shit differently. They're seeing shit differently. They're reporting shit differently. Things get confused. You got your game of telephone. So then the whole public's getting this whole convoluted story from it. And in the meantime, you got the fucking troll farm going on endless lives, literally telling lies, literally inserting bold-faced lies right into the entire discussion. You know, and they're going on YouTube, they're going on Facebook, they're going on Reddit, and just inserting the lies. Troll farm. And you know, I don't have to name them. That's why it's important to hold these people accountable, because if you don't hold them accountable and you give them a pass on that, then you're not telling the truth about what they did during this entire debacle. Yeah. And even now, remember, I've been harping on this idea that we still don't have the actual video exhibits and audio exhibits from this alleged bridge guy video that was shown in court. Instead, they let these cranks leak some other fucking version, and we're supposed to be happy with it and never get those exhibits.
But the
Which
damage
for me,
that
it's like,
you go to some of those links though, and there's a couple of them that are out there. There's 960,000 views of that. Like those burned in memories are not coming out of like the general public's memory. And that to me is like, once you see like on the Charlie Kirk, the guy running across the top of the roof, you assume that there's some foul play involved, right? You don't, whether that's legit or not, and that's probably a bad example, but like you're not walking that back.
It is a bad example, but yeah, it's called planting seeds of disinformation. Like, are we going to wake up someday? Everyone's been creating the parameters of what's allowable speech, while simultaneously there are a whole handful of individuals intentionally planting seeds of disinformation. It's called the Delphi Murders online sphere.
From the kind of the core thought of a starting point for, the
That's
fact of what happened.
Great point.
And so I think Richard Allen's attorneys need to raise that, though, is I think that's ineffective. Number one, that his lawyer stipulated to that. And it's alarming for some of the statements that his counsel said afterwards, right? They make this PR tour to some of the folks that went to the trial quite a bit. And I hear one of his lawyers say that the video they played in court and the video that they had in discovery wasn't that different. And that's a quote. It wasn't that different. What do you mean wasn't that different? If my life's on the line, or if a loved one of mine is on the line, how is it different? How is it showing my client favorably or unfavorably?
It wasn't that different, meaning it wasn't the same thing.
And so some of the actions that his defense attorneys and strategy, I don't think it was effective. And they were paid a lot of money. I know that's not the easiest job in the world, but something's up there.
Hello.
I hope that he gets a new trial, and Prof, like you, I do hope that the folks in Frank's memo and that the new regime that has taken over wants to take a look at this, because it is probably the biggest miscarriage of justice that I think I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Cash Patel,
not
Dan
only
Bundy,
not
Dan
finding
Bongino,
the victims of the
Dan
two girls,
Scavino,
but also what they
Do
did
work.
to Richard Allen afterwards.
Look at
5 years
Delphi.
later.
It's important. It's very fucking important. Open your eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
they Guantanamo Bayed his ass. I mean, and anyone who says not, you don't know. Like, you need to
Filthy.
go reflect. Yeah, this is not the way it's supposed to be. I mean, like you said, it's a smear on this justice system. It really makes it look no better than any other place.
But the rulings that the court and that the high court and the land have made are almost empowering these people's ridiculous behaviors. I think it's adding fuel to the fire. They can't stop me. I got the judge. You even saw that in some of the behavior of these police officers who were threatening, well, I'll lock you up tonight. Like, even including some of his lawyers that were trying to throw him in jail. I got Judge Gold in my back pocket. You're going to be held in contempt. And, this is like martial law.
Yeah, and another point I just remembered, and it's just so many to always remember, but remember during that whole debacle, you got Libredo and Scrimmin are on, also appointed in a friendly manner by Judge Gull, and she offers them complete latitude to go ahead and have a Franks hearing, which is contrary to what she did before and after with Baldwin. It's like, well, when does that ever happen? Why should who the attorney is matter in terms of what's allowed for the defendant? Because for me, the attorney is supposed to be basically a non-entity. The attorney is a surrogate or a sit-in for the defendant. It's just the defendant's stand-in who has the legal knowledge to properly argue. So why should it matter who's standing in those shoes when it comes to it? Because it's really, you should be offering Richard Allen or that defendant the opportunity to present a Franks hearing or to argue for whatever reason for a Franks hearing. So why should it matter who's standing in those shoes of the attorney at that point in time? It's really the cognitive dissonance, because it's.
Well, you bring up the point of changing the lawyers, right? So she turns the video cameras on in a case that's been completely sealed, gag ordered to the nines, right? I mean, liberally shutting down for this air quote sake of the investigation that they really didn't gain any ground on in 5 years. I mean, to gag it like this and then to get nothing after 50,000 tips. I mean, they got Huey, Dewey, and Louie as these cops. And really, they were just smacking down anybody who got near anything that was hot, and making life real tough for them. But you bring up the attorney. So I think one of the sleight of hands that we probably should take a look at is during that time, was there massive amounts of discovery that was over, whereby the prosecution say we did give it to Richard Allen. It wasn't really his defense, but did some of the bad stuff that maybe. I mean, you remember how there was discovery weirdo, like anomalies, where it was always seems to be, when the attorneys were ripped off, they were ordered to bring back all of their case materials, all of their work product, and turn that into them. So now the state got to read all that. Okay. They get any of the briefs they had drafted that maybe had not been filed yet, any of the working outlines of people that they were hot on the press for. The state gets to peel back his whole entire defense theory with all the materials from all of his lawyers. She turns the cameras on in court and says, "You're fired. I can't believe what you guys did." Right? And he gets these two new lawyers. And I think one of them's I don't know. I'll have to check the facts on this. But the two lawyers that you mentioned, they come on, and by the time Richard Allen's new attorneys came in, the work product that they had been working on, from what I understand, is that it wasn't in the same condition. It wasn't like they gave it.
So yeah, when the original attorneys were reinstated and they received discovery again, it was in a different condition than when they returned it, which means it doesn't mean that the lawyers deleted stuff or moved things, but there were items missing that had been present before that they no longer had access to, which I kind of look at as a sanitization, because remember I guess the way that this all was prefaced is the discovery was extremely unorganized in the first place, massive volumes of it, extremely unorganized. So they go away for a while, they come back, they get it back, and it's still unorganized. But now it seems that it's missing items that were needed and known to exist before that are not found at all.
And they just play dumb about it and
move right. Move right along. Nothing serious.
So maybe the lawyers, there had to have been a good reason for that shuffle. But when he went in front of the Supreme Court to get his lawyers back, those are the same appeal attorneys. Is that right? For his direct
One
appeal?
of them. One of them. Mhm.
One of them?
Yes, Mr. What's his name?
I can see his face.
Lehman.
Too.
Mark Lehman.
That's right.
He was one of them. And but back to your point that here the complication that I'm having in my cognitive dissonance is these are still employees of the state. Their livelihood is dependent upon the state, you know. And I think there probably needs to be an entire overhaul of this whole system and more of a free market system. I kind of envision that there could be vouchers or something where maybe you don't need a whole category of what's called public defenders. Why not a complete free market and allow attorneys to be selected by the defendant and then compensated with
Like
some
a credit system, right?
the vouchers from the state or whatever. So they're still paid by the state, but they're selected by the defendant and not appointed by the state. And it seems like that would be a lot more of a free market scenario that would be freedom of choice of the defendant in who's defending him. Because I don't know, everything we're starting to see, I really don't like doing this, but you have to be willing and open-minded to question everything when things don't seem right, and things don't seem right. So I have the same hesitation with the appellate attorneys. Is you're still dealing with employees of the state, you know.
That's right.
Entrenched employees
and this
of the state actors.
Be their last defense. This won't be their last appeal.
No, they'll have to argue in front of the same judge. It's the same with all of them. You know, Baldwin has repeated. He's already been back in front of Gull with a whole other homicide. So it's rough. It's a rough situation.
I said I'd come on and share some ideas with you and bounce things off. I'm not going to stay too late. Look, I enjoy all the folks that show up for your chat and stuff, and I enjoy being part of it. So hello to everybody, and thanks for having me on. I enjoy talking.
I appreciate you, and same here, Jake. Come back, and maybe we'll see you at YouTube. I truly appreciate it.
Take care, everybody. Good night.
All right, good night, Jake. All right, and that's it. I'm going to shut that shit down. That was Jake's input last night over on Twitch. So if you're not on Twitch yet, go to Twitch. Come on, subscribe to my channel. If you're watching here, you'd love to watch on Thursdays at Twitch because you're going to have moments like that. Okay, so come on to Twitch. We're at the Prof allegedly. Maybe old Shibby or somebody will put my link down in there. But over at Twitch, you can find it anywhere in my link tree that's pinned at the top of the chat. Go check me out on Twitch. Follow over there. So get your notifications. I go live every Thursday there. And I want to have a nice open line situation happening there so that any of you, and I mean any of you, can call in. We can chit chat like I did with Jake because that was very productive. Okay, and I was so glad to have that little chit chat with Mr. Jake Brooks. Now, I did want to say congrats, Hebby. Let me see. I'm gonna do this. Okay. Yay, Hebby. Yay. Good job, Hebby. Good job. All right. We're all proud of you and we're happy and we love you, Hebby. Pardon, but that's our deal. Now, let's turn a page. Okay, let's turn a page because to close it out, I saw something today that I just loved so much because you know me. You'll understand in a moment when I show it to you. But you guys know me, and you know, those who have been following me a long time, you know me. Okay, so I want to watch something together with you. And hey, if you're not interested, just fucking move on. No one's asking you to stick around. But on the way out, hit the thumbs up or whatever. And if you're on the replay, leave a comment down below and let us know what you thought of Jake Brooks and my conversation. Anyhow, let me pull up this thing I want to share with you because I thought we could watch this together because it's so nice, right? So there's something nice I want to watch with you. And it's kind of to wipe the slate and let us finish off with a clean palate and sort of like forget about Delphi for a minute, because that was all I wanted to cover with Delphi tonight. So now I'd like to look at something just for our own enjoyment, right? So let me see if I can, like I said, my stream crashed, so I got to pull this up again when I've already done so. But, let's see. Yeah, please. Thank you very much, Granny D, for the super chat. You guys, I have a goal of 10 super chats of any dollar amount. So please click the goal and send in support if you'd like, or support over at Cash App, Buy Me a Coffee. And remember, I have a GoFundMe. But please send support for the channel if you choose to do so. And otherwise, you can support it with leaving comments down below in the comment section, or
We've gathered 3 professional
joining the chat
and chocolate makers to blind taste test every dark chocolate bar we could get our hands on to see which ones meet their standards.
Oh yeah, guys. So this is what it's going to be, okay? You know I love my chocolate. I'm a chocolate lover and a coffee lover as well. So so we're going to watch this, and I want to share it with you because it's odd, and I'll describe it to you, okay? Because they start off with my favorite, and then they gradually go further and further away from my favorites, but they're going to start with my favorite and move on. So let's just watch this together, and I'll probably be interjecting from time to time, okay? But this is a fun one. I liked it, okay?
Ghirardelli, intense dark, 86% cacao.
First look is not well tempered. It should be a little shinier.
It looks like it's wrapped really well because I'm seeing like pretty intact corners. Whoever made this knows what they're doing.
Oh, you heard that.
So one of the main things I'm looking for in a quality chocolate right off the bat is the snap in the chocolate. That snap's going to mean that it was emulsified well, that the temper is strong. It indicates that there are no other fats besides cocoa butter.
What the tempering does, it allows to be shiny, it allows to get hard.
Tempering is the process of aligning the polymorphic crystals in both the sugar and the cocoa butter. So if you see a chocolate bar that has streaks, it's either come out of temper or it wasn't tempered well. It should look pretty clear like this.
What I'm looking for is the chocolate to be smooth, because when it's grainy, it just divides in your palate. You don't really get to taste the quality of the chocolate.
Bad texture will give you a bad mouthfeel, which will ruin the experience of the chocolate.
Smoothness in a chocolate indicates that it's been well emulsified, that the temper is strong, that there hasn't been any defects in transit.
I do want that strength of the cacao flavor, some level of bitterness, some level of sweetness, but I am looking for a balance. I don't want to eat a cleaning product.
Every ingredient needs to have their own room.
I'm just pushing this to the roof of my mouth, allowing my body temperature to really melt the chocolate down. Don't chew. And I'm the greediest of the greedy. The texture of this chocolate is incredibly smooth. There are some acidic notes, there's some bitter notes.
It has some acidity. It has bitterness. It's a combination of different beans. It's not.
Yeah, but it's a delicious. These people are funny to me because they're very particular with their chocolate consumption. But I love this one, this Ghirardelli dark chocolate, because it's really wonderful, and I think in particular the Ghirardelli has the best taste of the grocery store brands. It's a little too finely emulsified or ground up, or whatever you want to call it. I like a little grain to mine, but it's interesting because despite its smoothness, I still like it because of the flavor. You know, I think they have the nicest tasting in the grocery store. But if I want something sugary, I have another one, which they're going to show also later. So I'll talk about that later. But typical standard fare, I go with this. Okay, so but let me let her do her thing.
Really single origin.
The single origin means that all of the beans in that chocolate come from one place. So you can pick up on all the notes there.
It's melting kind of fast, which does tell me that there's maybe some fats in here that aren't cocoa butter. I'm not getting any crumbliness to it.
And look, The warmth of my fingers has created this blooming effect. It looks like ash, but it's really that cocoa butter that melted.
One of the things that's really like sort of sexy about chocolate is that it melts at the human body temp. So it should take a little while for the chocolate to melt. This chocolate's pretty well tempered. It's a pretty boring middle of the road chocolate.
It's a good commercial. I'm not completely wowed by the cacao content.
I feel it's 80%.
Ghirardelli's 86%.
86.
So the percentage here is an indication of how much cocoa is in the bar, and that could be a mix of cocoa beans and cocoa butter. And the extra 14% is most likely sugar. It could be other fillers, vegetable oils, milk powders, stuff like that. The chocolate has to be above 35% cocoa in order for it to be labeled as dark chocolate. There's no really regulation on what else that 45 or 30 or 15% can be. And it's actually pretty mild for being 86%. But if you're looking for the health benefits of a super dark chocolate, this probably has them. Dark chocolate has a lot of health benefits. Primary one being that it's high in polyphenols. It's the same type of antioxidants that are in berries.
Milk fat in a dark, it's kind of crazy.
So that milk fat is what's making it melt faster.
How was it an intense dark with the milk fat in it?
Cadbury, Royal Dark Chocolate.
The snap was not as strong.
A pretty dull snap.
I'm concerned with the percentage of...
This is some poo-poo chocolate, okay? This is some poop. Don't buy this Cadbury. It's crappy. I've tried it before. Don't do the Cadbury, y'all.
Cacao in there.
And then I can also see a little bit of grit here in the side. It might be an indication of higher percentage of milk fat.
It's a little waxy. Cocoa butter is more expensive than vegetable oil. Sometimes companies tend to add some vegetable oil to make it less expensive. Sometimes you might get a waxy texture.
There's definitely a lot of milk powder in this.
It's some milk chocolate.
I don't even taste the flavor of the cacao. I don't think they listed the number of percentage.
I can taste sugar.
I feel like I just ate like a Jolly Rancher.
Slight fruitiness, like a raisiny kind of flavor. Anytime you get perceivable notes of fruit or nuts, that could be the fermentation of the cocoa beans. That could be the roasting of the cocoa beans. That could be a process called conching, which is used to aerate the chocolate and drive off acidity and volatile chemicals. My guess is some of all of those three things are at play here to give it like this round flavor.
It is smooth.
Cadbury.
This is the Cadbury Royal Dark.
Cadbury.
It also tastes like the little eggs.
They not calling this dark.
See, there's no
Crapola.
percentage in this. I knew it.
Which means it's probably or right at the line for being able to be called dark chocolate. So they want the benefits of calling it dark chocolate without telling you just how dark it is.
Sugar, chocolate, cocoa butter,
Milk fat yet again.
natural and artificial flavors.
So the ingredient that's used the most will be listed first. In this case, sugar is listed first. If you're looking for the benefits of a dark chocolate, you really want chocolate or cocoa beans or cocoa liquor to be listed first.
Hershey's Special Dark.
So this chocolate has a few air bubbles on it, which means that when they were molding the chocolate, maybe they didn't vibrate it enough. So when you're pouring the chocolate, you want to vibrate the molds to make sure that the chocolate is smoothly laid in the mold, that it's even, and to remove any air bubbles that might be caused from the molding process. Let's see how this one snaps.
Oh, that's different, Mother, though. See, the caramel in the middle, it makes it a whole different thing. It's sugar bomb. So, yeah, that's it's a whole different thing. It's all about the sugar.
Snaps. Oh, almost no snap at all.
Fell apart like a cheap suit.
Lots of sugar.
Really, really sweet. I'm not getting a lot of cocoa flavor at all.
This is a Hershey bar.
So this definitely tastes mass-produced to me. I don't taste any perceivable notes from the cocoa, which means that what they're probably trying to do is mask the flavor of the cocoa.
If you have a good flavor bean, you don't need to add so much sugar because you don't want to overshadow the natural ingredients of the bean.
It's like some type of fake vanilla that companies use sometime.
3 for 3.
Special dark, mildly sweet. Mildly sweet. How much y'all spend on this one?
Sugar as a first ingredient.
So this also has cocoa processed with alkali.
If it is a really bad cacao bean, it's going to be very, very bitter. They use the alkalization to take that bitterness out. And
In other words, the cheap shit. If it's really cheap shit, they got to use the Alkalization to the extreme. That's why all the Hershey's and all the cheap shit is super alkalized.
Add sugar.
PGPR is also in this. What is that?
Red
God help us,
flags.
I don't know.
Red flags. Now look at that. PGPR. You should never eat that. Polyglycerol, polyresinoliate is an emulsifier made from glycerol and fatty acids. I don't need that. I don't need that. I need something that has chocolate, sugar, and maybe milk. Okay.
But it's in me right now.
Chocolove, 65% cacao, rich dark chocolate.
This had a good snap.
An audible snap to it. It is sort of crumbling a little bit, and I did notice maybe the slightest bit of bloom. A lot of times with chocolate, you can pick out two different types of white marks on it, and those white marks come from something called bloom. First bloom is what's known as sugar bloom. That generally happens when the chocolate is processed or stored in a high humid environment. The sugar crystals in chocolate will take.
Yeah, I know some of the troll farm ladies. Some of the troll farm ladies have had some bloom. You know what I mean? But it smells more like mildewy mushrooms coming from underneath their ill-washed body parts. So when that shit flares up, there ain't enough athlete's foot spray powder to take care in the world to take care of that. So shout out troll farm ladies.
On moisture and start to separate from the rest of the ingredients in the chocolate. The second kind of bloom is what's called fat bloom, and that's when the cocoa butter comes out of temper from the rest of the chocolate.
If it bloom, you're not going to taste that refined flavor.
Sugar bloom isn't really going to affect the texture. Fat bloom from melted cocoa butter is definitely going to affect the texture. It's going to make it crumbly. It's going to make it sort of like you have to chew through it.
The smoothness is there.
A little bit of cocoa flavor, some fig, some raisin.
I like the acidity.
This has a higher cacao content than whatever those things I had before.
60%.
Definitely still pretty sweet. We could be tasting that from some of the sugar bloom.
There's some level of thought.
It's pleasant, yes.
It's definitely a blend. This is not single origin by any stretch. From shape alone, I would say Choco Love.
Oh, this one.
And yes, it is, baby.
So the odor is good.
The first ingredient is cocoa liquors.
Cocoa liquor is one part of the bean. Cocoa butter is the other part. So both together make chocolate.
If you need something real quick to satisfy the chocolate craving, these are my go-to.
Chocolove.
I actually don't like these too much because the chocolate taste is a little imbalanced in my opinion. So these, I mean, in a dire emergency, I might take a little one square of these, but they're too liquory. They're too chocolate liquory, so it's kind of imbalanced. So I never really like these too much.
88% cacao, extreme dark chocolate.
Let's see how this one snaps.
That snap was up.
This one looks really smooth.
The color itself is a much deeper, darker color.
That one's really smooth, almost too smooth. It's just like sliding down my palate.
It melts well. It's temper. It's not bloom.
There's more of an intense roast on this.
It's just a little bitter.
When people are like, oh, I don't like dark chocolate, it's bitter, they're kind of talking about this chocolate.
I would say probably in the 80 range for this. Extreme dark chocolate, 88%.
That's really high cocoa percentage.
I would take 88 on a day where at least 4 people or more have pissed me off. This is what I'll partake in to stop me from busting everybody's ass.
Trader Joe's, 72% cacao, dark chocolate.
That's promising. All right, Snappy.
The sound is well tempered.
This is good. This is a good one. Smoothness is there.
Nothing wrong with the temper here, really well tempered product.
I'm getting the cacao flavor.
It's about 70%. I have an aftertaste of coconut. Maybe this plant grows where all the coconuts.
Oh my God, guys, look at this photo here. Look at this photo. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my. Does anybody else want a backyard like this? God damn, I want a backyard like this. You got the cacao trees growing among the palm trees, the coconut trees. I mean, dude, I could go into this backyard and have a full-on fucking meal for the rest of my life. Like, where do I have to move to have this in my backyard? Holy moly. Can we just appreciate the beauty of God's creation for a moment?
Plants are, cacao and chocolate itself tends to absorb everything around in its environment. Even when you put a box of chocolate in your refrigerator, then it's going to absorb all these aromas.
There's maybe like a little bit of nuttiness in the cocoa, but it's sort of being overpowered from over roasting the cocoa beans. The roasting helps caramelize the natural sugars in the chocolate to give it sort of that fudgy characteristic that we associate with chocolate. It also can sort of neutralize some off flavors. So I'm guessing that this chocolate was maybe over roasted because it wasn't super high quality cocoa. This is Trader Joe's 72% cacao chocolate bar, imported from Belgium.
Let me tell you something. Me and TJ, yo, he be coming through for me, okay?
Apparently, this is $1. And it's an amazing quality. They want to make it affordable to the public.
You know what? I've never had that Trader Joe's crap. I don't like, I don't really like Trader Joe's. You know, I've lived in several places where there's a Trader Joe's. And I've never really liked Trader Joe's. But judging from their opinions on this chocolate here, makes me want to live next door to Trader Joe's now so I can go check it out, because they all seem to agree that it's pretty good. And dude, 99 cents, let's back it up a bit. 99 cents for that piece of chocolate? Really?
Make it affordable to the public.
Like
me and TJ, yo, he be coming through for me, okay?
Apparently, this is $1.
That'd be a
and
chocolate.
It's an amazing quality. They want to make it affordable to the public. And it says imported from Belgium. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little bit of story. When cacao went to Spain, it was only consumed as a drink. So the Swiss are the ones that found the technology on the tempering of the chocolate and become harder. Then the Belgium learned from the Swiss to make this chocolate, especially the milk chocolate.
To temper chocolate at home, you want to melt down the chocolate above 120 degrees, let it cool. When it gets to about 90 degrees, you want to take a piece of chocolate that doesn't have bloom, a small piece, like a piece about this size. You want to drop that in the chocolate, keep stirring it. The reason you have to put another piece of chocolate is to seed the chocolate. You're basically showing the polymorphic crystals in chocolate how to be properly tempered. It's like sort of crazy sounding, but that's literally what you're doing. You're like slowly melting the seed, and that seed is like bonding with the other crystals to show them like how to be perfectly tempered chocolate.
This is my chemistry bro. Chemistry bro just explained the whole process really well. You got to seed that shit. Right, Shibby?
Lindt, excellence. 90% cacao, dark chocolate.
All right, hold on. Feel like we're getting classy.
Very dark.
All right, I'm going to put my input in on this one here. Now, this one here used to be my go-to. I used to love these, like, a lot. But I started noticing that I was getting headaches and I was over-consuming it and all this shit. And then some years went by after COVID time, and I started reading the papers that were doing research into heavy metal content. It's talking about heavy metal rehab. Hey, girl. No, so they did a lot of research on all the major chocolate manufacturers and tested for the heavy metal content in all of the various chocolate products. And these Lindt bars were particularly problematic in being overly rich in heavy metals. So I wouldn't recommend these. And I started to realize probably why I got away from them, where I was overdosing on the heavy metals by eating too much of this stuff. So I don't do the Lindt bars anymore, but I used to. You know, it has a decent taste, but I think they have a good process, but they're probably sourcing it poorly. So they need to refigure where they're getting their chocolate product from, because wherever the soil is, the roots are pulling up heavy metals from the soil. It's probably too acidic, and the soil is too rich in the heavy metals, so it's pulling on up into the beans. And remember, for those of you who don't know, like these, when the plants pull up minerals from the earth, it tends to concentrate them in the lipids of the plant. So in the seeds that are lipid rich, they tend to have the most mineral content. So your heavy metals are going to be abundant in the seeds of plants. And if you're having bad soil conditions and acidity, and you're having too much heavy metal being brought into the seeds or the lipids of the plant, you're going to end up with a product that has this problem. So caution, I would recommend go read some papers and some research in the past 5 years on the heavy metals in different chocolate products.
I think this is going to have good snap. Yep.
That's a snap.
Okay, you see, this is bloom. It has that whitish, grayish film. The fat is coming out.
To me, indicates that this was stored in a high moisture environment, maybe in a refrigerator.
Very smooth. It has that really prominent cocoa flavor.
It's bitter.
Small amount of fruitiness.
It's too high for me. This is too high. It's probably in the 90s, like 95.
This is warm. It's cinnamon, very, very earthy. This is a West African chocolate.
Forastero, definitely.
A lot of the times, the fudginess that you're tasting in chocolate, that is uniquely West African. The red fruits, a lot of those tropical flavors are South American.
There are 3 types of beans. The criollo, which is the wild. This is the origin of the cacao.
All right, she's going so fast. I feel like I want to comment on everything, okay? She's describing the various varieties of cacao, and I got to say this. The criollo are the absolute most delicious. They're very tame. If you ever eat the raw cacao beans, these criollo are the absolute most delicious, best ones. They're my preference. Like if I'm going to buy raw cacao beans, I buy those. And I like chocolate bars that are highly consisting or have a high criollo content. Okay.
Most of Africa grows forastero from...
Okay, she's saying the forastero, that's another variety, which I don't like as much.
The criollo and forastero, they created the trinitarios because the...
Okay, and she's describing the third, which is a trinitario, which is a blend of the criollo and forastero, which they're okay, honestly. The trinitaro, when they're blended with the criollo, they're really a good bar too, even if you eat them raw. But I really dislike the forastero. They're kind of very, I would say, fruity and acidic tasting if you eat them raw.
Criollo is a very delicate plant.
So even with this bloom on here, the smoothness of this chocolate definitely confirms to me that this, in like sort of the early stages of sugar bloom, isn't really going to affect the texture.
90%.
Deliciously intense, surprisingly balanced. This chocolate lists chocolate, cocoa butter, and cocoa powder. My guess is they want like a really strong chocolate flavor, but they want the added fat of the cocoa butter to help it melt.
Lindt Excellence, 70% cacao, dark chocolate.
This color is not as dark as the last one, so the cacao content is clearly lower.
Could be from the cocoa beans grown in different areas, are going to have different color to them, anywhere from like a light tan to a purple color to like a deep dark color.
I want to add in what Jotan Jaeger is saying here. Yeah, that's these varieties are hardier. Like when I studied about the varieties of the beans, the reason they exist is that they are more capable of surviving in difficult climates. That's why the criollo are more expensive, they're more rare, they're more delicate plants. They have a harder time growing outside of their native regions, but they are more delicious. So it's kind of a blend. To cheapen the chocolate, they use the cheaper cacao pods. So that's what's going on with all the varieties. So the cheapest chocolate will include more of the African varieties.
Snap is good. The smoothness is good. The snap was good. Let's give it some milk though.
The taste is nice. It's a balance between bitterness and fruit. It feels very smooth in my mouth. It could be between 65 to 70. Lint.
Oh, it's lint again.
70.
This has vanilla beans in it.
That was the flavor. Bourbon vanilla beans. It's giving me that milky flavor.
And it has soy lecithin. Soy lecithin is an emulsifier that helps keep the sugar and the fat bonded in the tempering process.
This is something that I would buy if I'm away and I don't have access to my own chocolates.
Tony's Chocolonely, 7.
Now I gotta add in here. Hell yeah. Now this one, someone was asking earlier about my favorite sweet bar. So if I don't want something healthy, if I just want something sugary as fuck, this is the one I go to for sugar. Okay, so when I want a really sweet treat, kind of like a brownie or a cake, something sugary as hell, I go for this brand here. And this brand is really nice. It's kind of pricey, but if you want a sugary chocolate bar, I really recommend you guys try this Tony's chocolate. It's about $5 a bar or $6, but they're really tasty and sugary. So this is another go-to that I always reach for.
80% dark chocolate.
This is a very thick.
What the hell?
But let me see if I can give this a snap. Okay, it's a pretty good snap.
It kind of
The
looks
person
like
who made this is unhinged.
it kind of looks like the Willy Wonka, right? Let me back it up a bit. Kind of looks like Willy Wonka. That I think that's their little, that's the meme they're going for with the packaging.
Okay,
Let me see.
I don't have access to my own chocolates.
Tony's Chocolonely, 70% dark chocolate.
This is a very thick.
What the hell?
But let me see if I can give this a snap. Okay, it's a pretty good snap.
The person who made this is unhinged because you want people to break their front teeth. I still have teeth.
That'd be a chocolate.
Still that like middle of the road fruit flavor, raisin, prune, dried fruits for sure.
The texture is not there. It's grainy.
It's a good cocoa content.
It's a pretty good melt considering how thick the bar is.
I like
Feels
that
like it
grainy.
would-
See the chocolate snobs? Hey, lady, I like the graininess. So good. Some people like the graininess. What's good for one might not be good for the other. So I like the grainiest, expert lady.
Refined really well, conched really well. The process of conching is twofold. One, it's to massage the cocoa particles after they've been refined. The other reason for conching is
I think this dude needs to get laid. Why is he saying massage? Is he got something on his mind here?
the process of conching is twofold. One, it's to massage the cocoa particles after they've been refined. The other reason for conching is to drive off acidity through oxidation.
Is this crazy ass Tony's Chocolonely? Boom.
This is Tony Chocolonely, 70% dark chocolate.
Oh, the sugar's also fair trade. All right, I see y'all doing y'all thing. I know that they're really, really committed to ending the exploitation in cacao.
Great.
That's why let me back that up. That's why I don't mind spending the money on this bar. Let me show y'all again. I don't mind spending twice as much for it because it's highly fair trade based. It's a based ass chocolate. They're really fair trade centric. So check out the packaging again. Let me see if I can back that up. Let me back it up a bit. Yeah, see, fair trade cocoa and sugar. Okay, fair trade.
I see y'all doing y'all thing. I know that they're really, really committed to ending the exploitation in cacao.
Great value, 50% dark chocolate.
Good temper.
That's like a
Don't do it, y'all. Don't do the Walmart chocolate.
medium snap.
It's not a clean break.
Might be an indication of some other kind of fat besides cocoa.
It tastes very chemical. Lots of sugar.
What is this? Tastes almost banana.
I can tell that it's not an expensive chocolate.
It's smooth. It's super sweet.
Ew.
High vanilla content.
Yeah.
The more commercial brands tend to always like really center vanilla to kind of hide the fact that my beans are cheap. I wouldn't, eat this for fun.
Great value.
Huh. This is Walmart? I'm actually kind of surprised. This is better than a lot of the other ones that we've tried. And I'm guessing this one's also pretty cheap.
50%, calling it a dark chocolate, barely. Natural vanilla flavor.
Walmart's chocolate. I don't know.
When there is too much sugar and the combination of vanilla, it tends to have an effect in flavor that, it almost tastes like chemicals.
You're buying chocolate on a budget. This one's not that bad.
Better Goods, 85% dark chocolate.
Nice snap.
It's a good flavor.
This one melts a little bit faster than I was expecting, given the snap.
When you put it in your mouth, it starts melting by pieces. In my opinion, it is about the crunching and the
Shibby, stop it. Don't talk about what's melting in her mouth, bud.
tempering. In the crunching, you're going to put your soy lecithin, your sugar, and it starts grinding and grinding and grinding. And that is what's going to make it very smooth, very emulsified, very together. And this is why you do the tempering, because you want to keep those properties together.
This one for me is not bad. It just sort of falls flat in terms of complexity. It's pretty balanced. It has a pleasant aftertaste, but there's nothing that's really like sort of jumping out to me in terms of discernible, extraordinary flavors.
Better Goods.
85% dark chocolate.
It's well balanced for an 85% chocolate.
Yeah, no, don't do it. Don't do the Better Goods.
It's premium Swiss chocolate, but I appreciate intense and fragrant dark chocolate made with cacao sourced from Ecuador and Ghana. Thank you.
Ecuador and Ghana are known for their high quality forastero. This is one of the
Yeah, that's going to be the cheap beans. It's going to be the Forastero, and it's going to be the Trinitario. So that's why it's kind of crappy bar there.
most popular cacao for the industry.
Oh, also Walmart. I actually prefer the cheaper one.
Fine and raw, 83% dark.
This is nice and thin. I'm proud of it.
It has a good snap.
There's some sort of swirling on the top of this chocolate, which to me indicates it might not be the best temp.
Don't say swirling it. Why is this guy using these trigger words? Why is he using all these trigger words? Swirling, massaging. Bro, put the chocolate down, sir. Sir, put the chocolate down.
A little bitter, a little grainy. It doesn't really melt so well. Maybe it's a little bit bloom, not a lot, but a little bit.
The texture is off in some way. The cocoa bean has a shell on the outside of it, and you have to do a good job of removing that shell while you're making chocolate, or else you're going to get some grittiness. My guess is that this has a higher than usual amount of cocoa husk in it.
It finishes in a way that I don't particularly care for, and it's giving maybe a little bit of a rush job on some of the roasting. The roasting a lot of times can mellow out some of that acidity.
It tastes more green, tastes more vegetal than the other one.
If you don't...
Did he just say vegetal? I think this guy likes dipping girls' toes in chocolate. Allegedly girls, girls. I think he likes dipping these girls' toes in chocolate when he does his thing.
Roasted, then it's going to taste more grassy, more green.
So this is fine and raw, 83%.
Fine and raw. This is fine and raw, the way I like to. But honestly, I think that I would. I've never. This is this is one that I've never tried, but I bet I would love this one. I don't know where to buy it though. I've never seen this anywhere. But I bet I'd like this one.
% dark chocolate.
Raw chocolate doesn't go through the roasting process. But why do we roast it? Is because it really enhances the flavors of the cacao.
So there is some line of thinking that you maintain some of the antioxidants and the polyphenols in chocolate.
No, bro. No, bro. Chocolate Bro got it wrong here. It's all about the enzymes. Okay, the reason you would eat raw chocolate is you're trying to preserve the enzymatic content. So it's more about the enzymes than anything. But I don't really recommend the raw chocolate anyway. But whatever.
You don't roast it, but chocolate that is roasted already has such high polyphenols.
And I love the fact that this is handmade. And in Brooklyn, shout out to Brooklyn.
Hue, simple dark chocolate.
This is very thick. And the tempering is very good.
This one is nice and clear on the top.
Okay, good snap.
Could be 70. It's not overly sweet.
This has a well-developed flavor.
It's actually like pretty well balanced.
Smooth.
I feel it needs to be conch maybe longer hours.
I'm tasting some smoke, and the smoke adds like a umami kind of flavor to it. This is probably my favorite.
This is Hue Simple Dark Chocolate.
Yeah, and I've had those before. They're pretty good too. If you're in a pinch at the grocery store, those are pretty good. I mean, not my favorite, but probably one of the second best maybe at the grocery store there. Hue.
I love you guys.
Organic unrefined coconut sugar is the nectar of the coconut palm. It's a little bit lower on the glycemic index than regular cane sugar. And then when it's mixed with chocolate, the sweetness doesn't pop out at you.
Godiva, 72% dark chocolate.
Well, this is like a little individual piece. This is okay. Hold on.
Oh, nice. Very nice snap. It's sweet though.
A little bit on the gummy side, which could be an indication of over-refined sugar particles. So when sugar particles get really small, they tend to want to clump together. Really well balanced though. A little bit of fruit, a little bit of acidity, deep chocolatey fudginess. Aftertaste though is a little bit, we have like a little bit of bitterness, like rubbery flavor.
Cup of hot chocolate flavor, which is like, for me, the hallmark of like all the commercial chocolate makers got together and they were like, when people want dark chocolate, they want it to taste like a cup of hot chocolate. I absolutely believe this is commercial. This is somebody's commercial something.
And honestly, this is the biggest surprise to me on their list as they've gone through this whole series. This one surprised me. It makes me want to try it maybe one day, but it looks like everybody's loving this one, which is kind of surprising because they're pretty much chocolate snobs.
This one really took me on a journey. The initial flavors were pretty nice, but this aftertaste is really getting me.
Godiva. Oh my God. Very surprised, but very good.
This is Godiva Signature, 72% cacao dark chocolate, 8 individually wrapped mini bars.
Belgian, 1926, so you know it's real, right?
We have butter oil here, which is a first, not my favorite.
I wouldn't eat this if my life depended on it. Clearly my life didn't depend on it and I ate it today, but the dramatic effect.
Alter Eco.
Sorry, got a little distracted with my chocolate. Yeah, let me let it roll.
85% cacao, classic blackout.
Snap's pretty good.
So this is definitely Bloom. It has that white film.
I'm nervous.
This one crumbles. Maybe it came out of temper at one point and then rehardened. The top here indicates that that might be what happened.
I find it too dark for my palate.
Flavor's not balanced. The bitterness is taking up a lot more space.
I want to guess that this chocolate's about 85%. Whoa, this is Alter Eco Classic Blackout, 85% cacao.
An 85%, if it is a bad quality cacao, it would taste too bitter. It's darker for my palate, but it's not overwhelming.
If you're eating it for like a tasting experience, maybe not this one, but if you're eating it to restore forests and for the health benefits, it's pretty good.
Beyond Good, 70%, pure dark.
It's a little thicky. You don't discriminate. Snap is good.
This one's a little bit lighter in color, which could be from the cacao, could be from milk powder. That's the snappiest one we've tried. Pretty snappy.
The flavors are complex. Like I'm tasting licorice, I'm tasting fruit.
It's very fruity.
Fruit forward. A lot of like berry notes.
The texture, it has a little bit of grainy melting. This one is Bloom too.
Pretty smooth. And the flavor of this one really trumps a lot of the other chocolates that we've been tasting.
Is this Ghana? It's Madagascar.
Usually, The best fruity cacao comes from Madagascar.
This is beyond good.
Beyond good, 70% cocoa, pure dark.
Boom. Grown in Madagascar, made at the source. I mean, that's just so profound. And this has direct trade certification. You directly trade with the farms.
I know these guys. They're really good people.
I needed a comeback. The great value was lingering in my spirit.
365 Whole Foods, 70% cacao, dark chocolate.
Cross section looks actually like exceptionally smooth. There's no indication of any particles. Let's snap it. Doesn't snap very well.
This is a thickness that I really do enjoy.
It's very smooth, nutty.
This one's weird. It's like kind of waxy. It's sort of sticking to my mouth in like an unpleasant way. Could have vegetable oil instead of cocoa butter.
Who's weird, bro? You're the weird one here, bro.
The signs of cheapness are like that fake vanilla flavor. When you're walking past Bath and Body Works from September to like Thanksgiving, when everything is like warm sugar pumpkin pie. That's what this tastes like.
Probably like 70%.
Oh, 365.
Yeah, 70%.
So I'm really like sort of tasting the soy lecithin. There are a lot of good chocolates that you can buy from Whole Foods. This is not one of them.
Bruh.
Valrhona, dark chocolate guanaco.
All right. They all pretty much blasted that previous one. Now this one right here is legendary in my little snooty chocolate aficionado world. This bar here is absolutely, or I would say this, the brand, but this bar as well. Overall, this is the most legendary one. So I found it interesting what they all had to say about this. You know what I mean? Check it out.
70%.
Snap is good.
Fruity, sweet, melts good. It's a very pleasant chocolate.
It's smooth.
This one has like a higher fat percentage, I would guess. So maybe they're using extra cocoa butter. There is a little bit of fruit flavor.
70%? Why didn't you tell me? This is what I buy for my chocolates.
Valrhona, 70%. Guanaja.
Guanaja was the island where Christopher Columbus landed, and the cacao beans were being traded as money.
This chocolate is super easy to work with. It's a brand for chefs.
What made me choose this chocolate is because it's not bitter, it's not too sour, and it's a very neutral flavor. It's very pleasant.
This one is actually made from beans that Valrhona sources.
I love Valrhona. They're good folks. They make good chocolates.
Ritter Sport, 50% dark chocolate.
It melts good.
Definitely smooth.
It has a nutty flavor.
Really mild in flavor.
I don't like
coconut
these much.
taste.
I prefer
kind of sweet.
If I wanted something cheap like that, I'd get the Toblerone Dark. I don't know if any of you ever tried the Toblerone Dark. It's about equivalent to these Ritters, but much better, twice as good. So yeah, y'all try the Toblerone Dark if you're wanting something sweet like that.
Sweet for me.
It's too sweet. It's not my type.
This is like take a chocolate bar to a movie theater, like kind of chocolate. There maybe is a little bit of milk powder. This is Ritter Sport, 50% cocoa, dark chocolate.
Sugar first thing.
So you can decide for yourself if you want to eat chocolate that's half sugar.
Meiji, black chocolate.
All right, a little individual. I like these because then I could pretend like I'm not eating a lot. Every time you...
She's a hefty girl. You know, she's a hefty girl. But for me, this one here, it's all about the packaging. It's just like black chocolate, and it's all little bitty. It's kind of like marketing. I don't know, marketing magic. It's bullshit.
Open your chocolate, you're exposing it to the elements, which increases any chance for bloom. Having smaller individually wrapped pieces allows you to basically eat the part that you were going to eat and not expose the rest of your bar. Why did I put this whole thing in my mouth? I don't know why I did that. I was so excited about the miniature size.
This one's like the most boring of any of the ones we've tried.
But everything, texture,
All about the
flavor,
packaging.
it's not my palate at all.
This is something that I would probably give out for Halloween.
Kind of like some people over here in the Delphi universe advocating for the defense.
At my grandmother's house, the answer is no here.
This is Meiji black chocolate from Japan. Doesn't say the percentage.
Why do you call it black?
This one's got like quite a bit of ingredients here. The first is sugar, and it tastes like it.
And it has the whole milk powder. This is a milk chocolate.
Blue Stripes, 70% whole cacao chocolate.
Snaps.
It's not like, it's not, I can. It's not a good flavor. It's like, I'm sorry, repulsive.
And it's really bitter. Definitely like the most like vegetal tasting.
There's a depth of flavor here. It's not just hot chocolate. It's not just vanilla. I like it. It has like this fermented kind of flavor to it. Texture, not the best.
This tastes like it has like some of the shell from the bean in it.
There's a little grittiness here.
I know what this is. It doesn't have the shell. It has pieces of the dried cocoa pod in the chocolate, I think. This is Blue Stripe. Yeah.
Blue Stripes, cacao shell fiber. I have no idea why you would want that texture in it.
I don't really see the benefit in using the exterior pod as an ingredient when it's sort of vital to composting, like at the farm level.
Because it's a cheap production trick. They're using it as a filler to cheapen the production and increase the profits. That's why.
I did not enjoy it. It was definitely different, but I like unique and weird and like kind of quirky things.
Theo Pure Dark, 85% dark chocolate.
I'm smelling this intense cocoa scent.
Not bad. A little bitter. I like the level of sugar.
This is pretty smooth. No real off flavor.
I'm tasting hazelnut. It's really, really warm. Cinnamon, nutmeg.
It has sort of medium acidity and it tastes like it has peanut shell or almond husk-like flavor to it. For a really dark chocolate, this is pretty mild, pretty tasty.
Theo! Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like these either. These here, they're like higher priced, but not higher quality. It's kind of, I think they're going with the organic label as a justification for increasing the price, but the quality of the product is not really there. And it's funny because they kind of picked up on that too, you know.
85% ground vanilla bean. That's probably is also what's lending toward that nutty kind of flavor.
Fair trade does a really good job of making sure that the farmers never make lower than a specific amount. This is like pretty good for being 85%. It goes down easier than a lot of other chocolates that are this dark.
Divine, 70% dark chocolate.
It has the aroma of cocoa butter, nutty, like raisins.
The smoothness was there. The balance of flavor was there. Not super complex.
It has a distinct flavor. It's a single origin. You cannot make this flavor if you mix different beans.
If it's all the same beans, you can identify like, oh, this is a navy bean.
All right, we taste lecithin. One of the things I'm learning about this experience is that I didn't know I could taste lecithin.
As I said, this is a chocolate that I could eat.
Divine.
Oh, where does it come from? I never heard of this.
States the name of the farmers union here.
Guapa Koku.
Yeah, I don't like this either, but just from their impressions, I can tell I won't like it. This tells me that it's probably a Forastero bean, single origin Forastero, which is going to be a cheaper, crappy, more acidic bean. But I wouldn't like it.
Farmers Union, Ghana. So it's obviously is a bean that comes from one single origin.
That is super, super rare.
Moser Roth, 70% cacao, dark chocolate.
It is melting really fast. Gives an indication of possibly some sort of lecithin or vegetable fat. It's a very light snap.
This one is not bad at all. Balance is good. It does not have a distinct flavor like the one that I tasted just previously.
Nothing really standing out about it.
It's kind of blah. I've tried this Roth chocolate before. The Roth chocolates, they're kind of just like blah, flat. They fall flat.
Both positive and negative, but easy to consume.
This could be 70%. The 70% of Lindt tastes more bitter. And I think it's because of the type of cacao bean.
This is Moser Roth, and this is a 70%.
I've heard of Aldi. That's where you go when you want to buy chicken for 20 cents a pound.
Not expensive.
Oh my God. The Aldi chocolate, they're look at them. Oh man, that actually makes me laugh there. That's where you want to go when you want to buy chicken for 20 cents a pound, not chocolate bars.
But it's not bad.
Ritual chocolate, mid-mountain blend.
This one has a lot of flavor.
If the food in front of me is good, and we see a little shoulder lean, that's how you know you made it.
Very sour. Very sour.
But it's citrus, it's like lemony.
Tastes a lot like star anise or like licorice. Indicates that there was some care given to the fermentation of the cocoa. This is up there. This is like one of the top ones I've tried. Oh, nice. So this is Ritual Chocolate, Mid-Mountain Blend, 70% cacao. They make chocolate in Utah in the mountains. Source their beans really carefully. They make it in really small batches, and you can taste the difference.
Cocoa, cane sugar, cocoa butter. Amen to y'all. Y'all doing it right. Tasting notes actually are strawberry fudge and graham cracker.
Okay, I don't find that at all. Zero.
Packaging, marketing.
People absolutely perceive flavors differently. It's all in how your brain is wired.
Guess how much this chocolate is?
Yeah, probably $12.
How the hell do you know that?
Spring and mulberry, pure dark, date-sweetened chocolate.
Yeah, all of this expensive bullshit that's all about the packaging and marketing. Nah.
So this bar looks like it was poured a little bit over the mold, but the temper looks good. Okay.
It's grainy.
This one has a weird texture.
This graininess is a little off-putting to me.
It's not bloomed, so I don't think the graininess is coming from the temper.
Flavor wasn't bad though.
The flavor's like pretty balanced.
Very much acceptable for my palate, but the texture needs to improve.
This is Spring and Mulberry Pure Dark Date Sweetened Chocolate.
Date sweetened chocolate. Is that what you're doing?
Which would describe that sort of fibrous texture. Dates are like a pretty good alternative sweetener for chocolate. Like it's lower on the glycemic index.
There's only so far down you can.
Let me just, I want to interject here because I don't like date sweetened chocolate, but I love dates. I absolutely love. I mean, Jesus Christ, I can't even describe to you how much I love dates as a snack. So I would like the dates with some good chocolate, but not the two together.
Grind a date.
Lily's extra dark chocolate.
Let's give it a snap. Let's give it another snap. So it doesn't really snap that well. So the temper does look a little bit off.
I give zero fucks about the snap, bro. The snap doesn't bother me at all. The taste is what I care about.
Y'all gonna do this on the last one. This is crazy. I snapped it and a boulder came out.
Nutty. It's a nut flavor. It's smooth. It's more like a common dark chocolate. Very well balanced.
This one is mild and bitter. Not a lot of like chocolate flavor. And then the aftertaste, there's like pretty strong bitterness. It doesn't feel like a bitterness from cacao.
There's something in this. What is that?
Maybe like a combination of like stevia and like sugar alcohol.
Is this that no sugar joint? That's what it is. It's Lily's. Extra dark chocolate style bar.
70% cacao and no sugar added.
What the hell is this? Chicory root.
It has chicory root fiber.
Ew,
I mean,
no,
chocolate.
I would hate it. Chicory in the bean. I mean, with the chicory with the cacao bean in the chocolate bar. No thanks.
It already has fiber, but they added more. I think this is supposed to be a chocolate for people that suffer from diabetes, but it's not bad.
This is a roast that I like. Everything after that is a no. I would never eat this on purpose.
Now let's see which dark chocolates our chocolate.
I would never eat this on purpose. I get that sentiment.
Tears and chocolate makers liked the most and the least.
I love the Divine bar. I thought it was a bar that I could eat every day. I could tell that it comes from a single origin. I love the Valrhona. It has a good balance of citrus and a little bit of bitterness.
So my favorite chocolate today was definitely the Ritual bar. It had the most complexity. You could really taste that it was made from high quality cacao.
If I had to choose, my favorite dark chocolate today is probably gonna go to Hue. Super smooth chocolate bar, balanced flavor, complex. It still sticks with me. I can still taste it now.
My least favorite was Blue Stripe. Tasted more like medicine than a nice treat.
And my least favorite was the Fina Raw bar. For the price of it, it just had too much gritty texture to it and too much herbal bitterness.
My least favorite bar, unequivocally, was that Great Value bar. Everybody is foul for handing that to me. You're gonna pay for good chocolate. Chocolate is not supposed to cost $2. There's no way to take care of the people involved in supply chain. There's no way to craft it well. Reduce the amount.
Boom. Yeah, she's dropping bombs. I like this chick. She's keeping it real the whole time.
Amount of chocolate that you eat so you can eat a higher quality chocolate.
Make sure to store your chocolate between 60 and 70 Fahrenheit.
All right, y'all. That was it. That was the really nice video that I watched today. And I thought, hey, man, my people might like to unwind and take a look at that. That's interesting stuff. I like the chick talking pretty real. I also like the cute lady with the accent. Like she's got opinions. She's pretty opinionated on it, but she probably makes really good chocolate, especially if she's using those Valrhona as her base product and then making custom chocolates with it. So, it's the Prof Show. I hope you all learned a lot and enjoyed it. And maybe you got a little hungry. Hopefully I made everybody hungry because I really love tasting the little sweet chocolates from time to time. I don't recommend over consuming. Like I said, there's kind of an epidemic right now because of the mass farming practices of heavy metals in the chocolate. So you eat too much, it's really not the best thing in the world for you. But yeah, it's funny. To me, the guy's creepy. The larger lady is very keeping it real, and the little lady is all adorable and opinionated. So yeah, thanks to Epicurious for producing that. I like watching things like that from time to time. Pretty fun. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here. Look, we got to 7 out of 10 on our goal, and that's plenty enough for me. I mean, I truly appreciate any and all support at all times, which reminds me to remind you to please leave a comment down below if you're on the replay in regard to anything you saw tonight. I love the comment section, and also hit the like. Thanks for being here. Next time we're here, join the live chat if you're a newcomer. Remind you to go to Twitch at the Prof Allegedly. Subscribe to me over there. Follow me so that you can participate in our 30-night hangout sessions. Hopefully every time on Thursdays we'll have somebody come and discuss with us whatever's on their mind. It's an open mic night, so anyone's invited to come as long as they know how to behave respectfully, just like we would sitting at a coffee shop or in the living room or on a park bench. We wouldn't offend each other and beat up on each other. So anyway, God bless you all. Thank you all. God bless Libby and Abby. Thank you so much for hanging out on this Friday night. I know that Dee Dee is doing a live stream tonight, so do me a favor. Go hit up Dee Dee and show her some support as well. And I don't know if Christina's still here, but maybe Christina's channel, someone can post the link. Go subscribe to Christina. Oh, hey, Christina. Subscribe to Christina, subscribe to Diana, and support everybody. And we love hanging out with you guys and having you guys watch the show. So really appreciate that. And thanks again to everybody who came into the chat and showed up tonight. We appreciate it. Even the hate watchers. Thank you for the hate watcher. Oh, side note. The Chomo Patty Troll Farm has been striking my recent content because I showed their bad stalking behavior at the Wabash, Indiana courthouse when they sent out 2 of the most unhinged Patty family troll farm members to stalk Noe's friends and family coming into his hearing. So special shout out to the Patty Family Troll Farm. Keep striking as much you want, because every time you do so, I'm going to ensure that I screenshot and post all the attacks on my channel. And remember, now we're up to at least 50. And I'm also going to add it to the Substack. And I'm also going to add it to Vimeo. And I'm also going to play it on Twitch. And I'm also going to put it on the backup channel. So every time you try to take down my content, I'm going to ensure that I duplicate it in 5 other places to make sure that you're not able to bully me off of the platform. So with that being said, go fuck yourselves. And God bless. All right. So we'll see all you guys later. I'm going to leave you with a little comedy and we'll be out of here. See you guys probably Monday or Tuesday at the latest. All right. So boom, shakalaka, shack attack, and God bless. And hug your kids, hug your wives. And if you got a husband, hug him too, I guess. All right. And that's all I got to say about that. Good night.
As an expert at being Mickey Mouse, yeah, I can say seriously, yeah, you're right, Rick. This is some Mickey Mouse bullshit. Thanks, Mickey. Hey, how's Donald? He's still on the stuff.
Prof is a fucking terrorist, a fucking pedophile, sympathizing fucking terrorist.
Oh my God! Bruh.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Bruh.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Prof is a fucking terrorist. Prof is a fucking terrorist.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
It was our job to help law enforcement.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Prof is a fucking terrorist.
It was our job to help law enforcement. It was our job to help law enforcement. our job to help law enforcement.